evil. And that vision is very important. The attack on 9/11 is similar. What gains were made by bin Laden and al-Qaeda? How did Hamas do after slaughtering innocent Jews 23 years later? The answer is nothing was gained. Massive death and destruction followed both cowardly attacks. I guess that's what the terrorists want. Violence for the sake of violence. No cause justifies that. Misguided souls the world over who sympathize with terror groups usually have their own individual problems. Steer clear of those people because they enable evil in this world. Those who pursue peace and justice should be respected and acknowledged. Too often we don't do that. But it is imperative for all good people to mobilize against the horror in this world. And the first week of October is the perfect time to start. Back in a moment. What happens when flu season hits and your medicine cabinet is empty? Don't get caught off guard. All Family Pharmacy makes it simple to prepare. If you want to be proactive with your health, this is the pharmacy for you. Stock up now on Tamiflu, antibiotics, antivirals, ivermectin, immune support, and much more. Delivered fast with a doctor's prescription included. Visit All Family Pharmacy, one word, allfamilypharmacy.com/Bill. Use promo code Bill to save 10%. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Scott with the first alert forecast. Going to be tracking a little bit of a cooler start this morning. Some patchy fog going to be sliding back in. Temperatures, the coolest they've been in the past month, close to the lower 50s this afternoon. Going to be seeing mostly sunny skies. Temperatures eventually back towards the lower 70s. Then as we head off into Thursday and Friday, temperatures continue to remain back towards mid-50s, mostly sunny skies. This weekend, a slight warming trend. Temperatures get closer towards the 80-degree mark, remaining dry. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Scott.
We know it's early. Mike's not totally awake yet either. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Okay, where do we go from here when it comes to military and troops and violent left-wing run cities like Chicago? Yeah, we've got all the updates for you here in just a couple of minutes. Hey, good morning, Mike Ferguson. Happy Wednesday. Gabe's going to be back in here in just a little bit, by the way. On the Missouri side of things, when it comes to the Second Amendment, the effort to preserve our Second Amendment rights at the state level continues. And it gets a little confusing with all of the court cases because you're also going to layer in on top of that the court fight over the Second Amendment Preservation Act, and then also additional effort by the Missouri legislature to enact a new version of SAPA. Okay, so where does that all leave us? Well, former state representative Jared Taylor, who's now with the American Firearms Association, was with me and Susie Moore from redstate.com on Tuesday's program, giving us this update. And it matters because what we have right now is an opportunity to really lock down some of those safeguards. Here's what Jared had to say.
So the U.S. Supreme Court made a ruling basically allowing a lower court's decision against SAPA to be allowed to stay into place. Let's start with the foundations of what did the court actually rule, and then we can get into, okay, where do we go from here?
Yeah, thanks for having me on this morning. So that's a good question. So there were a couple things that the court didn't like, and so what we did last session, because we knew that this was going to be a possibility. We knew that we weren't going to rely on the courts. And, the courts aren't really taking up many Second Amendment cases right now. I think they're waiting on an AR-15 ban. I think that would be the biggest thing that they could do right now is rule on an AR ban, that the states can't ban ARs. And so I think they're waiting on that. I think that's why we're not seeing many Second Amendment cases come through the Supreme Court. So we took a look at what the lower court said and basically rewrote SAPA based on those things that they didn't like. They didn't like that the legislature called out unconstitutional acts that the federal government is doing. And so they didn't like that. So we took that out. Again, we rewrote it. And that's what we've been working on in a dozen other states across the country. But we were waiting on SEPA in Missouri really to really make this push. And we started doing this push last session, and we're going to continue to do that this session. We're going to use that language that we've written in other states and use that as a model in Missouri and get it done and get it back implemented.
So, Jared, if I'm understanding correctly, the Eighth Circuit is the appellate court that said there were problems with the original SEPA, and then you all appealed that to the Supreme Court, U.S. Supreme Court, which basically said, no, we're not going to take that up. We're just going to let the Eighth Circuit decision stand. So now what's going on is a rewrite to try and adapt to what the Eighth Circuit said in its ruling. Am I understanding that right?
Yes, it was more at the district level, though, is where they actually wrote the opinion. And the Eighth Circuit just upheld what the district court said. Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, so the Supreme Court didn't strike anything down or confirm anything. It's basically allowing it to go through the process. Is that fair to say, Jared?
No, so they basically just said, we are not going to take up the case. Okay. I don't know that they necessarily agreed with what the Eighth Circuit said or what the lower court said, the district court in Kansas City. It's just, we're not going to take it up. We're not going to make a decision. So basically they were affirming that position.
Was the key point here the argument over the supremacy clause?
No, that was kind of one of the ancillary arguments that was kind of made by the DOJ, but that wasn't the main point. There was the main point was they didn't like that we called out the constitutionality of the federal laws, that we didn't like those. That's why we weren't going to implement those federal laws on a state level. And so that was kind of the big point of what the Eighth Circuit said, or the district court said.
So, Jared, this is something that I've been kind of wrestling with, is the mirror image. One of the things that we on the right, at least, have been very critical of is this sort of sanctuary city mentality in blue states and blue cities, saying, we get to determine whether or not immigration laws should be enforced in our enclave or whatever. And of course, the argument against that is the supremacy clause. Missouri, we turned that on its head when it came to the Second Amendment, which of course is guaranteed by the Bill of Rights, and said, look, we're basically declaring ourselves, not going to be beholden to the federal government if the federal government is going to come in and basically step on Second Amendment rights. What in your view is the best counter argument to saying that's basically the same thing?
Yeah, I think there's a big difference. I mean, the Constitution is clear on Second Amendment rights, and the reason for it was because it's to push back against a tyrannical government if that were ever to happen, rather than someone who's already committing a violation of our laws by coming here illegally and overwhelming our southern border. There's a big difference between the two. One is enshrined in our Constitution to ensure that citizens of the United States have that ability to protect themselves against the tyrannical government, and of course for all the other things like self-defense and hunting, but that's not the reason for the Second Amendment, where illegal immigrants are already committing a violation by coming into the United States. And so I think there's a big difference between the two. And that's why we did SEPA the way we did it in Missouri, because it has been upheld that states are allowed to do this. In fact, in that opinion, in Kansas City, at that district court, they acknowledged that Missouri has the right to do this, that they have the ability to do this. They just didn't like the way that we wrote it. They just didn't like the language specifically that we had in the bill. Now, the other thing too that I'll point out, so we saw something in Illinois over the weekend in Chicago. They were in violation of state law because they don't have anything on their books that says that they can withhold that help from federal law enforcement. And in Missouri, in SEPA, we specifically wrote in there that if the law enforcement was under direct attack or direct threat, that our law enforcement could then go and help federal law enforcement get out of that situation, and we could provide medical care. So we put exceptions in SAPA to make sure that law enforcement is protected.
We're visiting with former state representative Jared Taylor, who's now with the American Firearms Association. So gauge the appetite in the legislature for the 2026 session. Is there an appetite to take another swing and write an updated version that hopefully would pass judicial muster? Or you never know you've been there. You never know what's going to happen in an election year.
Yeah, that's right. I do think that the time is right because a lot of people last session. So just so you know where we were with this language last session, we got it through the House. We got it almost through the Senate. We were the last week when they started filibustering. The Democrats started filibustering, and they used the PQs. SAPA was the next on the docket to use for another PQ, and they just didn't get to it. And so, there were two other bills that were of high priority, making sure that Amendment 3 was back on the ballot, and so we just missed the mark. I absolutely think that there's an appetite for it. And I'll say this too, we've already heard rumors. We saw it last year. We saw groups like the Sheriff's Association coming out in opposition of the rewrite of SAPA. They were opposed to it when we first passed it. But we've been told that they're going to come out with their own version. And I can tell you what, we are going to go hard on making sure that there's teeth in legislation, that legislators stand up for the Second Amendment. And if they don't, they're going to be ads and other things in their districts, making sure that people know that they're opposed to the Second Amendment.
Jared, you said there are other states that were working along similar lines to get similar legislation passed. What are those other states?
Yeah, so we've got bills in Ohio. We had one in Arkansas, Louisiana, Iowa, Georgia, Alabama, Pennsylvania. Those are just to kind of name a few. Wyoming. So Wyoming passed a similar version, but unfortunately there's had no teeth. And so that's one of the states that we're working on to make sure that, and that's why the DOJ didn't go after them like they went after Missouri, because Missouri actually had teeth in the bill that made sure that this was implemented. If there's no teeth in the legislation, there's no point in it. If you can't stop something from happening with enforcement, some kind of enforcement mechanism, then there's no point in it. And so we want to make sure that there's some kind of enforcement mechanism in the bill.
All right. Jared Taylor, American Firearms Association. We've already tagged American Firearms Association on social media. People want to follow the work you're doing, websites, your social media, anything like that. What's the way to be in touch?
Yeah, so a good one would be Missouri Firearms Coalition, and we are on all platforms, including Twitter and Facebook. So follow us there.
And do not forget, today is Wednesday. Therefore, I begin my calls for this week's 80s Flashback Friday bump music requests. Start sending them in to Jerome right now. Clock is ticking. Let's go. All right. This is 101.9 and 94.1. News Talk STL.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Wherever I'm at, home, car, wherever.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Just the convenience on the phone. Streaming live on the mobile app.
Love the new app.
And listen anytime,
Everywhere.
anywhere.
Tim Jones here for Comprehensive Chiropractic in Eureka, the premier chiropractic and sports performance facility in the region. They've helped me recover from day-to-day aches and pains for years. And here's something special, personal training programs. Whether you're an athlete committed to increasing performance, recovering from an injury, or just want to get healthier and lose weight, their personal training programs will help you reach your goals and stay there. Comprehensive Chiropractic in Eureka, online at cchiropractic.com. That's cchiropractic.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Alan Link, owner of the Dental Link. You've heard ads about teeth in a day, but did you know that you will be chewing on plastic, acrylic teeth? Here at the Dental Link, we can give you porcelain crown and bridge teeth utilizing mini dental implants that function much more like real teeth at about half the cost. Plus, mini dental implants are less invasive, less painful, and your recovery time is much shorter. Give us a call at 314-794-6464 or simply visit us today at thedentallink.com.
Every 2 seconds, someone needs blood. Someone who is fighting cancer, undergoing surgery, or experiencing a life-threatening illness. The need for blood is critical and constant.
I'm Congressman Bob Onder. A single blood donation can save lives. Donate blood today and offer help and hope to those who need it most.
This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Looking for insurance you can truly trust? Since 1986, Bauer Insurance Agency has been protecting families and businesses across Missouri and Illinois. Owner Cindy Blanton doesn't just offer one quote. She shops all the top carriers like Progressive, Travelers, Safeco, and more to find you the best rates. Whether it's your home, auto, toys, or business, we've got you covered. Visit us at Mid-Rivers Mall in St. Peters or call 636-812-2001. Bauer Insurance Agency, the company that protects, the name you can trust.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
You know, I've noticed something after all these years of politics and media. The way we watch and the way we engage, particularly in politics, it's pretty much changed 100%. You know, so somebody coming up, getting involved in public policy and politics and getting, interested in all of that sort of stuff now, say, I don't know, maybe somebody in college right now. So 19, 20, 21, 22, early mid 20s, they're going to think this is the way that it's always been done.
Yeah.
That it's basically a social media influencer driven policy and politics. So I think we're in a social media influencer era of policy and politics. I'll put the question out there. Is that a good or bad thing? You know me, I'm in my, early 50s. I think it's a terrible thing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's an absolutely terrible thing. Like, for instance, with the Bondi hearings yesterday, I don't even watch those things anymore because the reason people watch them and frankly, the reason we have those sorts of news events, it's a completely different reason than what they were designed for, the way that they were done, even 10 years ago or 15, 20 years ago. Now, this, I swear to God, is not one of those get off my lawn, we had it better back in the day kind of stuff. It's really not. But for instance, with the Pam Bondi things or the Kash Patel things or the Tom Homan things or whatever, the purpose is not to grill a witness or an office holder to hold them accountable and get to the facts so that policy can be made. Because that's ostensibly what these are for, is that we bring in the people who are in office, we bring in the experts, we bring in the professors, we bring in the researchers, we bring in the victims, and the point is that we're supposed to get more information so that the Congress critters can make better decisions and write better policy. That's in theory what it's for. That's a bunch of crap. That is not what happens. What happens is everybody gears up to insult and make accusations, and you're looking for that social media soundbite, and that's all these things are. So the people that we're electing and the people we're supporting, they're the people who own the other side, not the people who are the smartest or stand on any sort of principles. Now, if the ones that own the other side with the spiciest sound bites or the best comebacks or the best takedowns, if they happen to have some principles, well, that's a bonus. But that's not why we support people anymore.
Yeah, that is, I think, probably one of the most tragic things about the way that government has been going since at least my lifetime is essentially what you said, that it's no longer about like a policy review. It's a press release. It's like a public image sort of, I'm going to look like a champion of this or that or the other thing, or I'm going to own my opposition.
Yep.
And for some reason, and I can't figure it out why, but for some reason that works on us. We say, well, it doesn't matter if there's a lot of skeletons in those closets, as long as in this clip they look like the the winning person, then all of a sudden we like them more.
And this is not something that is only being done by young people, by young voters, by young activists. This is the era that I think just about every age group has bought into. For instance, I got a press release the other day, a pitch. Because when you do this, you get people saying, "Hey, interview my guest," which is great. Hey, if you're a PR firm, please send me your pitches. I ignore or turn down about 90% of them, as anybody in this business does. But I got one, was it yesterday or the day before? A new book out by, whatever the name was. And they were bragging about him being an 18-year-old political commentator and strategist. 18 years old political commentator and strategist. What does an 18-year-old know about anything in politics? And so they're pitching somebody in a major market, and you would, in theory, think if you're in a market this size, you know what you're talking about. Not always true, but so all I could do was laugh and say, what is an 18-year-old political commentator and strategist and this was from a conservative shop. And so I'm sure that kid is going to, regurgitate and have all the spicy, hard-hitting, comments. And then what's really sad to me is that there are people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s who are going to go, I got to follow them, man. They're really sharp. I want to, they're 18. Shut up and learn before you start saying something. You don't know squat. I don't care how good of a student you are in high school. You don't know squat. Shut up.
Yeah. When it comes to stuff like math and certain sciences and music, there are aficionados and people that are just, brilliant in that field, but politics is a lot more nuanced. It's not a concrete science.
It's a social science. Listen, kid, if I need to figure out how to use one of the features on my iPhone, I'll ask. Otherwise, you learn from the people who have been there. It's just an arrogance that comes along with the social media influencer era.
See, and I've seen something similar, but it was in the financial realm. It was like this 14 or 13-year-old kid who has a pretty large following on Instagram and some other platforms, talking about like that grind set financial bro life and about how you can make and how there are hundreds of thousands of people following a 13-year-old for financial advice.
God.
What are we doing?
Yes. Well, maybe he's smarter with his allowance than the others are, but come on. And so I want to challenge people on that, because both sides do it. And it's a matter of people have their left. Now, if you've got somebody who's entertaining in their comment, okay, I get that. There are some out there that built their following on just being stupid. Like doing pranks and stunts at city council meetings. And what was that one? He styles himself as a comedian, but he's really an idiot. And he actually pranked the St. Louis County Council one, but he's done this all over the country. I can't remember his name. And then he's ended up like being a guest on some like the Fox News shows because he built, I can't remember his name, but he's just a moron. But you know what? He's on our side. So, but it's because he did stunts as faking people out.
Oh,
because I can't remember his name, but people love the cartoonish combat more than we want to pursue actual serious solutions to the things that are affecting people's lives. So, I've seen some of the commentary videos by, somebody who looks like they're in college, and what do you have to offer me? You don't have any experience whatsoever. So I'm glad that there are, young Republicans groups but the point of that should be to network and to learn.
Yeah.
And not to say there aren't sharp people with a lot of potential, but we're just in this era now where you get elected to high positions with a tremendous amount of power, in large part, in some cases, because you are able to be the influencer more than the thinker, more than the leader.
Yeah, if there's somebody of a younger age, I would say anybody that's probably 25 or younger that you find online that says the exact things that you want to hear and that makes you think that they're this beyond their years of wisdom kind of person, chances are they're just regurgitating popular talking points. I mean, don't fall for it.
I mean, and what's the motivation? Well, monetize your account by getting lots and lots and lots of views. And how do you do that? By saying the most provocative things, whether you know what you're talking about or not. And I'm saying that with people on our side as well, because honestly, the right is a lot better at social media than the left. I mean, a lot better. We're better at memes. We're better at the commentary. We're better at that sort of thing. And so it's not that there isn't a place for them, but they should be the foot soldiers reflecting the principles instead of just being, hey, look at me. I'm hot and funny and I hate the libs.
Yeah.
Eventually we have to get to something real. And the entire influencer setup is it's a bad incentive to get anything real done if we're going to reclaim government and limit it back to its constitutional bounds. Okay, let's see here. Do I have time to? Yeah, you know what? I'll talk about this a little bit later on. I saw a video flying around social media. It was another one of those protesters screaming at the police, with the eye stuff. And I took a look at it. I'm like, something's not right here. And the thing is, it tends to be believable because some of these protesters are chanting really stupid stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it just makes no sense. But here's the video. If you've seen this video.
Queso, no cheese! No queso, no cheese! You hear me? No queso, no cheese! Get back! No! Ah!
Pepper spray.
Ah, my eyes! Ah, I can't see! No queso, no cheese! No queso, no cheese! No queso, no cheese! Back it up! Back it up! No cheese!
Spicy.
Okay, so the video, the first one was just just a typical white leftist protester looking dude, and the second person who got sprayed was a young black girl. Looks like she'd be about 5th grade. So that is going around everywhere. This is what I voted for. Own them, FAFO. Guys, that's an AI video. It didn't happen. Not to say that the left wouldn't chant something that stupid. That's what makes it, I think, for some people kind of believable, but we're not thinking skeptically anymore. I looked at like, something's not right. There's a lot. And then I just kind of leaned down like, that's clearly AI. And I am not an AI expert, but it looks real, but there are so many things that could not happen in real life on that. But we're getting fooled, I think, because we want to get fooled.
Is your pup in need of a spa day? At Pretty Little Paws, we believe grooming should be a stress-free, tail-wagging experience. Our one-on-one, fear-free grooming ensures your furry friend gets the gentle, personalized care they deserve. No noisy kennels or long waits, just love, patience, and expert grooming in a calm, relaxing environment. Because a happy pup means a happy you. Pretty Little Paws, with 2 locations in O'Fallon and St. Peters. Visit us online at prettylittlepawsgrooming.com.
Winter's coming fast. Is your furnace ready? Johnson Heating and Cooling is here to help. Get our complete furnace checkup for just $99. We'll check for gas leaks, inspect electrical connections, and examine your flue to keep your family safe and warm. We service all brands of equipment, and we're fully licensed and insured. From furnace maintenance to air conditioning service, new installations to repairs. Call 636-332-4141 or visit johnson-heatingandcooling.com.
Hi, Kirk Hilsinger here, and I'm the new chairman of the St. Louis Republican Central Committee. I invite you to our meetings that take place the first Thursday of every month at 3710 Hampton Avenue. You can stay connected with us to learn more about how you can get involved, make your voice heard, and contribute to our shared goals. Together, we can make a difference in the city of St. Louis and the state of Missouri. For more info, visit our new website at stl-gop.com. That's stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you're testing your blood sugar 4 or more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetic Health Hotline today.
800-515-2380. That's 800-515-2380. Paid for by U.S. Med.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. The fur was flying last night during a forum on the hotly contested race for New York City mayor. Although Democratic Socialist candidate Zohran Mamdani is leading former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo in the latest polls, a dark horse candidate has now picked up support. On a roundtable broadcast carried on AM 970 The Answer in New York City, nationally syndicated talk radio host Mike Gallagher says he is backing Republican candidate Curtis Sliwa.
I don't think the numbers favor Curtis in any way, shape, or form. The numbers didn't favor Donald Trump in 2016 either. Hillary had a 93% chance of winning the election. So you go in as an American, you go in as a New Yorker, and you vote your principles, you vote your convictions, and you let God sort it out. But you move heaven and earth to vote for the guy who you know would be a better mayor than Andrew Cuomo, and that's Curtis Sliwa. That's Mr. Law and Order.
Sliwa, founder of the Guardian Angels Crime Prevention Organization, currently running third in the polls as the November 4th election approaches. Roughly 200 Texas National Guard troops hitting the streets of Chicago today to protect federal personnel and property. The city of Chicago and the state of Illinois fighting the troop deployment in court. President Trump offering no assurance of back pay for furloughed federal workers.
In 2019, President Trump signed legislation into law that ensures federal workers receive back pay during a government shutdown. But this week, he said there's no guarantee that'll happen this time. The president told reporters that he wants to take care of our people, but added that there are some people that really don't deserve to be taken care of. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Former FBI Director James Comey has a court date today in Virginia. Arraignment on charges of lying to Congress 5 years ago about media leaks. Watching Wall Street, the Dow futures up 89 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Dennis Prager here for AmFed Coin and Bullion. I've always been a strong believer in precious metals investment, and I've always been fascinated with rare coin collecting. But owning the wrong coins that only make dealers a lot of money can be catastrophic for your investment portfolio. AmFed Coin and Bullion specializes in taking people out of non-performing coin portfolios and turning them into gold, silver, or platinum bullion. They tailor a portfolio based on your goals and not what they want to sell you. You'll never experience scare tactics, misleading hype, or high-pressure sales from owner Nick Grovich and his very knowledgeable staff. They will evaluate your portfolio, show you how your coins have performed, and take the time to educate you on the ugly industry practices so that you can make an informed decision. Smart people can make very bad investments when they're under pressure and lack the facts. Call 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. AmericanFederal.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch with the first alert forecast. Going to be tracking a little bit of a cooler start this morning. Some patchy fog going to be sliding back in. Temperatures, the coolest they've been in the past month, close to the lower 50s this afternoon. Going to be seeing mostly sunny skies. Temperatures eventually back towards the lower 70s. Then as we head off into Thursday and Friday, temperatures continue to remain back towards mid-50s, mostly sunny skies. This weekend, a slight warming trend. Temperatures get closer towards the 80-degree mark, remaining dry. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at SerenityLTC.com.
Hungry for the best steak you'll ever have? Head to the heart of Moscow Mills and discover Harry J's, a local landmark and family-owned steakhouse, serving up excellence since '98. From mouth-watering appetizers to decadent desserts, Harry J's has something for everyone. Enjoy our extensive bar selection while soaking in our friendly family atmosphere. Whether dine-in or carry-out, your meal is prepared to perfection. Make the drive to 300 Main Street and treat yourself to a taste of Moscow Mills' finest. Harry J's, more than a steakhouse. We're a tradition.
Jamie Allman here for O'Fallon Family Floors. Experience the passion. Oh, yeah. You can go in and see the best variety, the best pricing, the best quality, the best personalized service right there off of Highway K in O'Fallon, or you can have the store come to you. Oh, yeah. Brian and his team take great pride in running a fantastic flooring outlet, and you can get their 5-star ratings right there on Google. Just check it out. It's O'Fallon Family Floors, O'FallonFamilyFloors.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Supreme Court is back in session, which means I'm going to make Zach Smith of Heritage give me his predictions at 4:20.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
It's a miracle we're not in prison.
Gabe Phifer.
Are you kidding me?
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
Yeah, it's kind of a thing.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
All right. A court's going to now decide Loaded Dice's future. There's another step that's taken in that whole thing. The fallout from the Arctic frost spying on Republicans, that is just beginning. I got a gut feeling this is going to be in a much bigger deal than what even a lot of politicians think right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we're about to find out who the final four teams will be in MLB. Just a heads up, something weird's going on social media. So if you're one of those who watches us or listens to us on Facebook, for some reason, apparently, at least from what we can see, it looks like the comments feature is not available on today's broadcast.
Yeah, we didn't do that.
No.
That's not us, limiting your free speech.
No,
that's YouTube deciding, I think, that we're not
Facebook.
Or I'm sorry, Facebook
Yeah.
deciding that not today.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. So if you want to comment and discuss, jump over to Rumble or go over to YouTube or go over to X, because we're all in there. But for some reason, Facebook comments are not happening right now. I don't know why.
Come on, Meta.
Why. Yeah, exactly. All right, 6:06 right now. Let's go ahead and dump some news on you.
Wake up, America. It all worked out. They got all the news.
The morning news dump.
Okay, so we know what the ballot language will be for the new Amendment 3 in Missouri.
Okay, so it's set. It's settled.
Yep.
Okay, all right.
A Cole County judge approves the language written by Secretary of State Denny Hoskins' office after rejecting the first two previous drafts. The ballot language will state that approving the new Amendment 3 will repeal the amendment that narrowly passed last year. It also states that abortions will still be allowed in cases of rape and incest and medical emergencies. So I'm gonna pause for a few minutes in the 620 and just go over, hey, here's what it's on there so we can kind of equip you. We're not going to do a whole other, segment on Amendment 3, but I'm going to give you the basic details and a couple of pointers on messaging that to the people around you. Like I said, right around 620 here.
All right.
Okay. Missouri's top lawyer. She is taking the next step against Loaded Dice. Okay. So KMOV's Corey Stark has the update on what's actually happening here.
Attorney General Catherine Hanaway is asking a court for a partial summary judgment against Montgomery. If granted, he could be ousted from office immediately. The Attorney General says that there is now enough evidence in 3 areas for Montgomery to be removed. Those are the refusal to transport detainees for medical treatment, the handcuffing of the Deputy Corrections Commissioner violating her civil rights, and using taxpayer-funded vehicles for personal use. Attorney General Hanaway is asking the court to confirm these violations and allow the sheriff's immediate removal.
Okay, so Sheriff Montgomery is asking the court to dismiss the request, saying voters should make that decision in the next election.
Right. That's really the only way to kind of counter the concept of doing it this way. And we've had these discussions before. With Kim
Gardner.
Kim Gardner, right? She was the one who was kind of up on the chopping block because of this too. But the purpose of this mechanism is to remove people who aren't doing their job,
right?
Like they're and also doing illegal things while in office.
I was gonna say, and literally committing crimes.
Yeah. So this is basically the this level of government's version of impeachment, and I think it's warranted in this case. So I can't see a real argument being made. No, let the voters decide. Yeah. Sometimes the voters put criminals in office, and I think there ought to be a check against that.
Yeah. And again, this is because of his actions after he was elected to office. All right. Federal agents in Chicago have arrested a suspected Latino Kings leader accused of offering cash bounties to capture and kill Chief Border Patrol agent Greg Bovino. Yeah, they caught the guy. 37-year-old Juan Espinoza Martinez has been charged with 1 count of murder for hire with a criminal complaint alleging that he sent Snapchat messages offering $2,000 for any information about Bovino and $10,000 for killing him.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Bovino was on Fox's America Reports, and he had this reaction.
That was an illegal alien that was comfortable enough living here in the United States, an illegal alien gang member, to put a bounty out like that. And when we look at what the governor or the mayor are talking about. They are the reason that gang members feel comfortable enough to do something like that.
Okay, so leftists, these are the people you want to defend?
Yeah, really. I mean, every single time I see people out here protesting ICE or calling ICE criminals or trying to block trucks or screaming about oh, my poor immigrant community is scared. It's like, is the immigrant community scared for real reasons, or are you just trying to make them scared because the criminals are being snatched up by ICE?
Right. We have immigrant communities here of people who came in the right way, and they've been a big blessing to the St. Louis area.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have any immigrant communities who came here illegally that are good for anybody.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Former FBI Director James Comey is going to be in court today. He'll appear before a federal judge in Virginia for an arraignment. He's expected to plead not guilty to criminal charges of obstructing a congressional proceeding by providing false statements. If convicted, Comey could face 5 years in prison. I'm going to give you a spoiler alert right now. Regardless of what happens with this case, Comey is not going to spend 5 years in prison.
That's not going to happen.
It ain't going to happen.
Yeah,
right.
we've seen this before.
Okay, Republican Senator Chuck Grassley accusing the FBI of tracking the private communications of about a dozen Republican senators as part of the investigation into the January 6th Capitol riots. Senator Grassley calling this another example of weaponization by the Biden administration against Republicans, as some of the listed senators say they don't know why they were being surveilled. Republican Senator Joni Ernst was on Fox's The Faulkner Focus and says they need to look into this a lot deeper.
We have concrete evidence and proof that it was President Joe Biden and his deep state operatives that went after Republicans, anyone in opposition. It was Joe Biden. Chew on that a little bit, Democrats.
Okay, so that surveillance was apparently at the direction of Special Counsel Jack Smith. At this point, they don't have any smoking guns or evidence that indicates Joe Biden directly or his auto pen directly signed off of it. So that I still think this is going to end up being a lot bigger than what people think, and frankly, a lot bigger, I think, than what the left thinks it should be.
Oh, it really should be a huge deal. The idea of the apparatus, the intelligence apparatus of America being weaponized to that scale. I mean, we saw it being weaponized, individually. We know Trump was being surveilled.
Right.
We know all those things. But now we're talking about, oh yeah, members of the legislature were also basically having their phones bugged.
Exactly.
That's a problem,
right? Yeah, precisely. By the way, I've mentioned the AI videos and the fake stuff, and we're falling for it.
Yeah.
I did see an AI video that was pretty funny. It was the auto pen signing stuff, but it was wearing a sombrero and had the mustache. So somebody kind of took the best of and put it in there. That was pretty darn funny.
I love it.
Okay. The man who tried to assassinate a Supreme Court justice has been sentenced.
Nicholas Roski was arrested before he could kill Brett Kavanaugh, and he could have gotten 30 years in prison. Instead, he received an 8-year term from U.S. District Judge Deborah Boardman, who says she specifically took into account the fact that Roski is now living as a woman. Boardman stated that in sentencing, she was influenced by, quote, the fact that she is a transgender woman and will be sent to a male-only prison facility. Michael Harrington reporting.
Oh, shut up.
Yep.
Oh, my gosh. Really?
Yep.
Are we doing this?
Yeah, we're doing this.
Oh, come on, man.
At some point, we have to come out of this insanity.
It's ridiculous. And I think people need to start going to jail for falling for it, honestly.
Right. Yeah. Oh, man. I guess it's that time of the news dump.
Oh, yeah?
Dueling sound bites.
Oh, here we go.
Dueling sound bites. Okay. Chuck Schumer.
Thousands more are working without pay. And meanwhile, House Republicans are getting paid and not working. So federal workers working and not getting paid, House Republicans paid and not working. Very bad thing for them.
Okay. And then Senator Ted Cruz for the GOP, part of the dueling sound bites over the shutdown from the Ingram angle on Fox.
I went and voted to open the government. The Republicans all stood together and voted to open the government, and the Democrats all said, shut it down. They said to our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, you don't get a paycheck.
Okay, there's our dueling soundbites.
All right, yeah. Hey, I know something you don't know. I am not left-handed. So that's all. I'm just saying back and forth.
I know you are, but what am I?
It's not nearly as entertaining, obviously,
Yeah.
as the duels we've seen in movies like The Princess Bride. But no, it's terrible. I'm tired of it.
I'm tired of the deals, but yeah.
But we have to talk about it because the government shut down.
Which is why I'm just going to be like really upfront. It's like, oh, well, I have to do a dueling sound bites on the shutdown, which I'm just, you know what? My life hasn't been affected by the shutdown.
Mine either.
I think ask yourself right now, has your life been affected by the shutdown? And the longer this goes, the more it should tell you, we don't need this much government.
We don't
need this much federal government. Okay, the Yankees hold on to play another day. They avoided the sweep by beating the Blue Jays 9-6. In other ALDS series, the Mariners are now up 2-1 over the Tigers after last night's 8-4 win in Detroit. All 8 remaining teams are on the field today with the game starting in 2-hour increments. At 2:08, the Mariners and Tigers play. At 4:08, the Brewers and Cubs play at Wrigley, with the Brewers ahead 2-0, so they could win the series today. The Blue Jays will also try to finish that series with the Yankees at 6:08. The last game of the night is Dodgers and Phillies. LA hoping to get the sweep and advance to the league championship series. That is 8:08. Very specifically, 8:08.
And 46 seconds.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin Bob. Get up, what are you waiting for? Get up, get up.
You know, sometimes in life, you need certain things. Maybe you need a hug. Maybe you need you just need an ear to listen. Sometimes you just need a little help financially. There's a lot of things we need in life. Maybe you need some spiritual guidance. Sometimes you just need a donut, people. And that's all you need. Mike Ferguson here from Mario's Donut Restaurant, mariosdonutrestaurant.com. And listen, if you've had Mario's Donuts, you know what I'm talking about. Am I right? Yeah. Okay.
Donut therapy is real.
That's right. It's a real thing. And if you're going to get donuts, you're going to have maybe that breakfast sandwich, you're going to grab that cup of coffee, do it right here from Mario's here. By the way, they can cater that office meeting or that birthday party. And you can even go just kind of hang out. I mean, Mario's is a fun place, man. I mean, it's not the stuffy coffee shop. It's just a lot of fun. They've got a big variety on their menu, not just donuts, but you should get the donuts. So check out Mario's Donut Restaurant.com. Get more information about their catering that they do as well. By the way, they're on Mugi Road in St. Charles, and so check them out. And there's a difference. You can go to the gas station, you can go to the convenience store and get that dried out, raggedy ass donut that's been there for 3 or 4 days, or you can go get a fresh donut that is delicious, and they have all kinds of options for you. But also even lunch. Run by their lunch, get yourself a gyro, get yourself a wrap, get something like that. Mario's Donut Restaurant does it right. Mario's donutrestaurant.com, or just put in Mario's Donuts on your GPS. It'll take you right there.
Jamie Ullman here with the great Eric Swanson of Newstedter's Fine Jewelers, Doherty Ferry and Big Bend. Tell me about Wow Diamonds.
Wow Diamonds. We call them that because when people come in and look at the diamonds, everyone says, wow. We feature those in natural diamonds, the mine diamonds. They're perfectly cut, polished, and proportioned. Not all diamonds come out of the cutting process the same, and ours are perfect. That's why they're called Wow Diamonds.
Newstedter's Fine Jewelers right there at Doherty Ferry and Big Bend, wowdiamonds.com.
Listen up. The offer St. Louis can't stop talking about being held over by popular demand. Right now, Renewal by Anderson. Buy any window or door, get the next one 50% off. Plus, you might get 0 interest, no payments for 18 months. This is Renewal by Anderson, the full-service window and door replacement division of Anderson. That's a name you've trusted more than 122 years. Our exclusive FiberX frames, 200% stronger than vinyl. And remember, Anderson products increase your home's value by at least 15%. So make sure you take advantage of the offer while it's still being held over. Schedule your complimentary consultation at rbastl.com. 877-WINDOWS. 877-WINDOWS. Renewal by Anderson. This is award-winning quality, stronger windows, smarter investment.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hi, it's Vic Porcelli.
And Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Hey, Vic.
Ken and I are on every Monday through Friday here on News Talk STL. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Whoosh, my morning, people.
All right, now a second attorney general agrees. Sheriff Alfred
Loaded Dice
Montgomery should be removed from office. We'll give you the update. We'll get to that here in just a second.
Let's go.
Quick update here. By the way, two quick updates. So apparently you can comment on the Facebook feed, but just for some reason we're not seeing it here, but apparently you can. So we're not sure what's going on with Facebook.
Yeah,
it's not us.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's just the gremlins are continuing. They've gone full digital now.
Yeah, precisely. So don't be afraid to jump on Facebook, but definitely the Rumble chat box as always is up and running. And of course you can tweet at us on X as well. Okay, quick update here. So Cole County judge now has approved the ballot language for the new Amendment 3. Let me tell you first and foremost why this is a very good thing. One, because obviously we have it decided now. The left is not happy about this, but the good news is that a pro-life Secretary of State, Denny Hoskins, was able to write it, and the judges did not write it.
Right.
Because that's actually, I think, one of the reasons, because there are so many people who show up to vote on these things. And one, they get all the bad information going in, but even the people who don't pay attention, they will make decisions based on that ballot language because they don't know any better. And that ballot language is just a bullet points as opposed to approving. It's like read these bullet points and then approve scores of pages of legislation and constitutional, addition. It's a messed up system, but it's what we have. Okay.
Yeah.
So the Cole County judge approved the language for the new Amendment 3. We're going to vote on that in November of 2026.
It's coming. Be ready.
Okay. So the language approved is going to say, shall the Missouri Constitution be amended to bullet point 1, guarantee women's medical care for emergencies, ectopic pregnancies, and miscarriages. Bullet point 2, ensure women's safety during abortions. Bullet point 3, ensure parental consent for minors. Bullet point number 4, and this was the sticking point. Repeal Article 1, Section 36, approved in 2024. Allow abortions for medical emergencies, fetal anomalies, rape, and incest. And the final bullet point, and prohibit sex change procedures for children.
That will sell. That I think that ballot language I think will get a majority, maybe a slim majority, but I'm actually thinking a significant majority of Missourians to vote for it.
Yeah, so that is basically all complete common sense. The only reason that you would oppose this is if you are a abortion fetish activist. I mean, to where people for some reason, this has become almost a sacrament.
It is
for those on the fringe left. And so they're angry, not because not even just because there's restrictions, but because the sacrament is being defiled.
Absolutely.
And so I've also seen some people that I think are just fake conservatives highlighting the allowing abortion in the cases of rape and incest and whatever else, and pointing out saying, look at this. This new one is supporting abortion. Vote no. Okay, stop.
You dummy.
Stop.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. We're going to go back for some of these later. Okay. But stop. This is taking right now. There are no legal restrictions on that or on the predatory so-called transitioning of children, which is not even a real thing. It's just the medical mutilation, chemical mutilation of children.
Yeah. Our current setup is that we are the most pro-abortion state in the union right now. More so than California, more so than New York, more than Illinois. I think, according to the law, if you're just looking at the letter of the law, Missouri is the most pro-abortion state in the union right now.
So opposing this level of restriction that we're going to see with the new Amendment 3 is ridiculous. It's what, not seeing forest for the trees, cutting off your nose to spite your face. How many other euphemisms you need me to use to say you're hurting yourself by opposing this?
Yeah, exactly. Allison asked a really good question. She said, is there language on weeks that abortion is allowed or up to time of birth? As of right now in Missouri, any restriction on abortion at all
is unconstitutional.
Is unconstitutional and illegal. So what this will do will be to allow the state's regulations on abortion to be put back in place.
Right. The existing regulations that we've had years past, the ones that are still on the books that say, hey, you can't do this, you can't do this, can't do this.
Right.
Those are all going to come back, which includes the trigger law.
Yes.
Right. Portions of it.
They might.
It might be severable.
Yeah. They might have to pass them again.
Okay.
But it might go back in. I'll have to text Nick Schroer and ask him about that. But the bottom line is that as of right now, it is by the way the state constitution reads, a woman can be basically a day away from going into labor.
The baby could be crowning, and she could say, "You know what?
I changed my mind. Kill it. Yeah, go ahead and instead of push, grab the forceps.
Yeah.
So that is according to the way it's written, and also the way it's written right now is that laws that would be restricting schools from hiding things from parents on the whole gender nonsense.
All those are struck down.
So this is crucial to save lives. So
just the health requirements for the clinics are gone right now.
You can't even say you got to wash the scalpel.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing, or wash the whatever chainsaw, whatever they use, and so here's the situation right now is that if we pass this, we're going to ban probably 99% of abortions in the state.
Yes.
There will tragically still be lives lost, but we are going to save like 99% of them.
Yeah. Just by the numbers. Yes, absolutely.
Yep. All right. So that's the update. So here's what I hope you will do is be ready when your friends, your family, your coworkers, your social circles, when they say they're trying to overturn and, take away women's rights.
Yeah, because that's what the opposition is going to sell to them.
Right. And what they argued last time was Missouri's law is so extreme, it doesn't even allow for treatment of ectopic pregnancy, which, by the way, was wrong.
It was wrong. It was false.
Because it was false. Missouri law specifically allowed that. When they said it didn't even allow abortions if the case of the life of the mother was in danger, which was not true. That was very specifically in law. So now this makes it very, very, very clear.
Because it's in the ballot language.
Right.
Yeah.
So go to Missouri Right to Life. And look at their website, and they've got resources for you. So please go ahead and do that and be ready, because we're going to win this by those daily conversations that just happen in real life. Don't argue and yell at people. Don't call them names. Just be ready to provide truth to overcome the lies. And not everybody's going to believe the truth, but understand that you will make a difference by making enough people go, oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people today, and this applies to many, many different issues that we deal with on a regular basis as conservatives, as pro-lifers, as basically standing on any sort of political position these days, is a lot of people have been cowed into silence because they're afraid of saying the wrong thing, or they don't feel comfortable in the situation. And I think a lot of that comes down to a lack of preparation. There are those of us who are well versed enough in it that we speak very well. That's why we got radio shows. We're comfortable in those situations, but a lot of people are not. It's basically like public speaking. It's like, hey, now get up there and support. He's like, oh, geez, you're asking too much. But I think what will help is if you already have basically an outline of a script in your head. Here's what I would say if I encounter this situation. Here's the point I would make. Here is how I would counter that argument. You can find those things at Missouri Right to Life, and keep listening. This station will continue to give you information on how to sell it.
And my guess is the Vitae Foundation would probably have some good stuff.
They're probably going to have some as well.
Okay, quick update here as we're talking about Sheriff Montgomery. Now a second Attorney General, Catherine Hanaway, not only agrees with Andrew Bailey and says, yes, he should be removed from office, but she's now prioritized it and is asking a court basically to grant essentially their motion that would allow them to remove him from office immediately.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So his argument, you know what? If people have a right to be unhappy or happy with their elected officials, but the people voted for me. They have to live with me till the next election. They should have to live with me till the next election.
I mean, that's an argument.
It is a logical argument.
Yes, but it's not really a valid
The problem
argument in
is,
this situation.
yeah, is that he's committed crimes. Now, here's the other thing. He hasn't been convicted of them yet.
True.
But we do, he's facing federal indictment.
He's admitted to, I mean,
he's
this is one
totally
of those
admitted. We know
situations
he's done
where his guilt is only technical, that we're calling it alleged. Essentially,
right, because
it's only
he's
technical.
admitted he did it. He just doesn't think it should have been a crime.
Right.
Yeah. So at this point, I think the attorney general is probably, Catherine Hanaway is really smart.
Mhm.
She knows what she's doing. Her team knows what they're doing. At this point, as much as I think it would be possible, believe it or not, guys, this is gonna sound weird. I think it would be fun to hang around Alfred Montgomery for, for coffee or a drink or something like that. He seems like, but here's the thing. That's probably, he's a fun kind of guy for the same reasons he'd be a fun kind of guy are the same reasons he probably shouldn't be an armed sheriff.
I think you're right.
I'm just saying. But yeah, for the sake of this aspect of the courts and the part of the justice system in the city of St. Louis, which is already struggling.
Yeah.
He's got to go.
Now it's Wednesday, so you know what that means. We need our 80s bump music for Flashback Friday. And this week, I think the theme that has bubbled up among the people is we're looking for feel-good songs, people.
Oh, okay.
While we're out for coffee with Loaded Dice.
Loaded Dice.
What's on the soundtrack? What's playing in the background to make you feel good? Let us know. Send it to Jerome at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Do you think he would say, "Don't you forget about me"?
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Meteorologist Chan Scott with the first alert forecast, going to be tracking a little bit of a cooler start this morning. Some patchy fog going to be sliding back in. Temperatures, the coolest they've been in the past month, close to the lower 50s this afternoon. Going to be seeing mostly sunny skies. Temperatures eventually back towards the lower 70s. Then as we head off into Thursday and Friday, temperatures continue to remain back towards mid-50s, mostly sunny skies. This weekend, a slight warming trend. Temperatures get closer towards the 80-degree mark, remaining dry. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chan Scott.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michaels Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michaels has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michaels Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Connor Roofing, you can count on Connor. Connor Roofing is now a two-time winner of the National Best of the Best Award for customer satisfaction for roofing, storm damage restoration, siding, gutters, both residential and commercial. Please visit ConnorRoofing.com for an estimate. And remember, you can count on Connor.
SR1 Sundays. Hi, this is Elizabeth Kaiser. Be sure and check out my show, Straight Lines, this and every Sunday at 8 p.m., right after Stand and Fight, part of SR1 Sundays. Let's meet right here and let's peel back some layers of this crazy world, and you might be surprised at what we find. Straight Lines with Elizabeth Kaiser on SR1 Sundays at 8 p.m., right here on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL. Straight Lines with Elizabeth Kaiser on News Talk STL.
Hey, Columbo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
News, analysis, opinion.
National Guard troops posted around the district.
We are removing many criminals from the streets.
I think the president made the right call on it.
That's too much. We don't need troops in the city. 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hey, Chris Arp from the Tim Jones and Chris Arp Show. Make sure that you're listening to our show this afternoon from 4 to 6. Now back to the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show.
Okay, so the Congress critters shut down the government because they can't agree on how to spend all that money.
Yeah, and it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. Okay. It's not that they don't have the money. They just can't agree on how to spend the money.
Mhm.
Yep. Okay. So is that going to end up costing us more once they figure it all out? That's an interesting question here. It is 6:34. Okay. We're joined now by Dan Savickas from our friends at Taxpayer Protection Alliance, where he's Vice President of Policy and Government Affairs. So Dan, let me lay one premise down here that we've kind of been talking, so you can kind of react to that framework. And that is, the longer that this goes, my theory, because we've been only half joking, not really joking, about wanting a government shutdown to happen, at least to some degree, because the longer it goes and the more offices are closed, the more people are going to realize, maybe I don't need that much federal government. Why am I paying that much? Maybe this is a way to get people to actually start putting pressure on reducing the size and scope of government. Now, having said that, you all are written about this on your blog, is that there still are costs to this when the Republicans and Democrats can't figure it out. And, you've looked at the numbers, you've looked at the policies, and you've definitely got the framework to say, yeah, one side's at fault far more than the other, if not exclusively.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's unfortunate because these government shutdowns never produce that result that you're talking about, where people should come to the realization that, how many non-essential workers are furloughed? I think that's what a lot of people don't understand, is that there are government employees deemed essential and they don't get laid off during a shutdown. They continue to work and they function just fine. So if you're non-essential, why are you continuing to get employed by the federal government and we spend all this money on you? But people don't come to that conclusion. They get upset about whatever it is, and things don't change because neither party's leadership particularly wants it to change. And unfortunately, what government shutdowns end up doing is just costing a lot of money to unwind, and they decide to pass a multi-trillion-dollar spending bill at the end anyway, which is why government shutdowns ultimately end up being costly, because they never actually produce any sort of policy end to work towards a more balanced federal budget.
Morning, Dan. Gabe Phifer here. So what we do understand, though, is occasionally something that will impact our life will show up out of these situations. One of which I hear kind of bubbling up now is the idea of some of our air traffic controllers sort of going offline here, that they're currently not getting paid, and some of them are taking leave, and this could impact air travel. Taking that into account, how does that jive with the whole idea of essential, non-essential? I would think that air traffic controllers should fall into the essential category and should continue to get paid. But what makes that distinction? Why are they doing this to us, basically?
Yeah, the air traffic controllers still get to work and they're still eligible for back pay, but during the government shutdown, there aren't the funds to continue paying them. So instead of them just being sent home for weeks, in theory, they're supposed to work and they will get back pay for the work that they've done once the shutdown resolves. But a lot of air traffic controllers, and again, I sympathize because I wouldn't want to work for no money either. A lot of air traffic controllers are just saying, well, I'm going to take some time off if you're not going to pay me. And that's causing shutdowns, particularly in California airports we're seeing right now. Thankfully, I was able to fly to the Midwest and back last week, no issues. But I think the longer this goes, the more frustration you'll see. And in theory, this is supposed to work in such a way that doesn't disrupt air travel. But knowing the human condition and realities on the ground, that's not going to work for any length of time.
Okay, so the big point of contention, Democrats say we've got to add back a bunch of healthcare spending. Republicans say you're wanting to fund, among other things, healthcare programs that end up being accessed by illegal aliens. Democrats say that's just not true. What's the actual truth? What are the Democrats pushing to add back as far as spending goes? And are the Republicans telling the truth when they make that particular accusation?
So it's a little twofold. So I think the Democrats' main problem is they want the subsidies for Obamacare to be restored. I think that's their primary gripe, which doesn't have much to do with health care for undocumented immigrants. But their other demand is that the changes made to Medicaid in the One Big Beautiful Bill also be rescinded. And the changes made to Medicaid in the One Big Beautiful Bill were to implement a lot of restrictions and requirements to make sure that only those who are eligible and only those who are American citizens are receiving the benefit. So there is some extent to which, yes, the changes the Democrats are demanding in exchange for reopening the federal government is something that would make it easier for illegal immigrants to access federally funded health care.
Okay, because one of the things I'm seeing a lot of the arguments being made, from the media on the left and some of the commentators and whatnot, they're saying the federal law prohibits that. It was never happening at all. This is just Republicans wanting to deny Americans health care. Now, I've got a separate issue of saying we shouldn't be thinking of government as our source of health care, but that's a whole other debate. But that's one of the things where we're hearing you're lying, no, you're lying, no, you're lying, no, you're lying. You guys study this for a living and for a purpose. And that's why I want to make sure that we're getting it to be very clear. So they're wanting to rescind the parts of the so-called Big Beautiful Bill that made it very clear if you're in the country illegally, you cannot access anything that federal money is spending. Democrats are saying, but federal law already prohibits that, so it doesn't happen at all. Are there cases? Do we know that there are cases where we're paying for some sort of healthcare for illegal aliens?
I'm not aware of any, but just given the reality that we're seeing in a lot of welfare programs, not just Medicaid, but the means tests are not being applied very strictly. And some of the broad-based categorical eligibility makes it so that I would very much believe that folks who are not supposed to be accessing these programs are indeed doing so. So it would not surprise me one bit. I'm not familiar with specific instances, but I absolutely believe that this is a problem, and the tightening of restrictions and making the guidance more clear to the agencies that dole out this care, I think is a good change and should not be touched in this negotiation.
Okay, so the Republicans have offered and the House has already passed. Basically, we'll just keep doing what we've been doing this whole time. Basically no changes whatsoever. Democrats have rejected that because they want to increase all that spending. What should the Republicans be fighting for, either as part of ending the shutdown or as far as reforms of federal spending and taxes and all that sort of thing? So while Republicans are basically to say, hey, you didn't have a problem with this the last few times, why are you shutting it down now? What should they actually be pushing for?
Sure. Right now, the Republicans are pushing for a clean continuing resolution, which is exactly what you said, is just kicking the can down the road, doing exactly what the federal government's been doing, which lands at a place that's only marginally less irresponsible than the plan the Democrats are pushing. Senator Rand Paul out of Kentucky has an alternative budget that is called his penny plan, where each year for 5 years, there would be a 6% spending cut being able to be taken from wherever, not necessarily 6% across the board, but 6% spending cut for 5 years would achieve balance of the federal budget in that 5-year span. It's gradual. He brought it up for a vote right before the government shut down. He only got about 30 or so Republicans in the Senate on board with him. It didn't pass. But a lot of these people, especially in leadership, who've been talking about fiscal responsibility, if this clean continuing resolution is the best they can come up with, it's not going to solve anything other than this current shutdown, and we're going to keep kicking the fiscal can down the road.
All right, what should we be looking for? We're visiting with Dan Savickas from Taxpayer Protection Alliance. What should we be looking for basically on a day-by-day basis right now? Because essentially all we have is dueling sound bites where Republicans say it's Democrats' fault, Democrats say it's Republicans' fault. What should we be looking for as far as anything substantive towards ending the shutdown?
Sure, I think you look to see if anybody's changing their tact as to what kind of continuing resolution, because I think Schumer needs some sort of way out of this. I think if they cave and get nothing out of this, that's a bad look for him. So he needs some way to save face. So if Johnson and Thune start proposing, well, what if we do a shorter continuing resolution and we can keep negotiating behind the scenes about healthcare. I think that's probably Schumer's last best effort to get out of this. So if you start seeing something like that being proposed, then you might start seeing progress towards ending the shutdown. And then on the other side, and I think we're starting to see it a little bit with representatives like Marjorie Taylor Greene out of Georgia, if you start to see some Republicans get a little hesitant about cutting the Obamacare subsidies, that is when you might believe, because of the razor-thin margins on the House side, that there might be movement to actually negotiate and give Democrats some of what they want, which is definitely going to give Schumer that escape hatch.
Yeah, which at that point, then why did we give the Republicans the majority if they're just going to give the Democrats what they want and give Schumer that? That's a good way to put it, escape hatch.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Dan.
Yeah, amen. It's two sides of the same coin, it feels like, every day in this city.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. All right, Dan, people want to follow the work that you're doing because, clearly you're not pulling any punches and you'll call out both sides on this. What's the way to be in touch?
Sure. You can find all of TPA, the Taxpayer Protection Alliance's work at protectingtaxpayers.org. And you can follow us all across social media, especially active on X, the app formerly known as Twitter.
All right. Thanks, Dan. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you both.
Now, how are Republicans reacting to the news that Team Biden was spying on their communications? We've got that update for you in the news dump at 6:50.
Something's got you gone tonight. Doing all you can's alright. Come on, can't you see that when we all let go?
In the media.
1019 and 94.1.
They lying about what's going on in America. They lying about it.
News Talk STL.
Hey, Jamie Allman here for Patriot Heating and Cooling. When your home's comfort is on the line, you need a team you can trust. That's why I recommend Patriot Heating and Cooling, St. Louis's trusted team of HVAC experts. These pros make customer service their number one priority, whether it's a summer breakdown or a winter emergency. Booking your service couldn't be easier. Just visit callpatriothvacstl.com or call 314-527-2722. Patriot Heating and Cooling. Comfort every day, the Patriot way.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on NewsTalkSTL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. Call 800-335-2299. That's 800-335-2299.
During tax season, your personal info travels to a lot of places you can't control. Between payroll, your home office, your tax preparer, and the IRS, if your W-2 gets exposed, that's just the ticket for identity thieves. That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity's stolen, they'll fix it guaranteed or your money back. Don't let identity thieves take you for a ride. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code CLAY. Visit LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at Stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey guys, this is Billy Crow here from Jeffco Patriot Radio. Make sure to listen to us this and every Sunday at high noon. Now, back to Mike Loaded Dice Ferguson.
I love that.
Okay, so the courts are going to decide the other Loaded Dice's future.
Right.
I am not mixed up in the courts right now, just to let you know. The other.
No relation.
Oh, man. Also, let's talk about the fallout from this Arctic frost spying thing on Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
It really kind of is. I mean, think about it now. We don't know enough to draw these conclusions, but all I'm going to say is when there was a massive case of political spying in the past, we called it Watergate.
Yeah. I mean, so there are so many things that are bigger than Watergate right now that we just kind of blink at. It's like, oh, well, I guess another day in Washington.
Right.
It's wild to me.
So the question I've got is this going to end up being this generation's Watergate? I don't know the answer. It may get washed under the bridge like everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just saying is that there are some similarities in there. Now
that
was over like, party offices and things, but you've got clearly partisan aspects here. And we're about to find out who the final four teams are going to be in the MLB. And we know that Gabe's wife, Janet, is really strongly pulling for one of them.
Yeah.
So if she comes into the office here, she can high five our sales guy, Ethan, because he's on the same side. Yeah. All
Traitors.
Right. 6:50. Let's dump some news on you here.
The morning news dump. Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks.
The morning news dump.
Okay, we know what the ballot language is going to be for the new Amendment 3 in Missouri. A Cole County judge approves the language written by Secretary of State Denny Hoskins' office after the judge rejected two previous drafts. The ballot language will state that approving the new Amendment 3 will repeal the amendment that narrowly passed last year. It also states that abortions will still be allowed in cases of rape, incest, and medical emergencies. But the bottom line is that this is a very pro-life effort, and it's going to allow our legislature to ban elective, non-medically necessary abortions. It's going to be able to ban almost all abortions in the state of Missouri.
It's a big step forward, especially because of where we are right now.
Yeah, it's a big step forward after we took about 10 steps back.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is something. Go to Missouri Right to Life, go to Vitae Foundation, go to whatever website you want to go to. They will have more information on this here. Okay, Missouri's top lawyer takes the next step against loaded dice. KMOV's Corey Stark has the story.
Attorney General Catherine Hanaway is asking a court for a partial summary judgment against Montgomery. If granted, he could be ousted from office immediately. The Attorney General says that there is now enough evidence in 3 areas for Montgomery to be removed. Those are the refusal to transport detainees for medical treatment, the handcuffing of the Deputy Corrections Commissioner violating her civil rights, and using taxpayer-funded vehicles for personal use. Attorney General Hanaway is asking the court to confirm these violations and allow the sheriff's immediate removal.
Okay, so Sheriff Montgomery is asking the courts to dismiss the request, saying voters should make the decision in the next election. And it's one thing to say, okay, well, you're not doing your job. I mean, you can elect somebody to be in office and they don't show up to work. Well, that's not doing your job, but that's not breaking the law or breaking ethics protocols. He's breaking a lot of stuff. He's proactively doing things that he is prohibited from doing. So I think the Attorney General's on some very solid ground.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's not as though any of these things are disputed. He's just saying, well, I should have been able to do these things. And of course, that's not a argument. It's not a legal argument.
Precisely. All right. There were some coverage of this, but not that much because the left doesn't want to show the ugliest aspects of illegal immigration. Federal agents in Chicago have arrested a suspected gang leader, Latino Kings leader, specifically accused of offering cash bounties to capture and kill Chief Border Patrol Agent Greg Bovino. 37-year-old Juan Espinoza Martinez has been charged with a single count of murder for hire, with a criminal complaint alleging that he sent Snapchat messages offering $2,000 for any information about Bovino and $10,000 for killing him. Bovino was on Fox's America Reports reacting.
That was an illegal alien that was comfortable enough living here in the United States, an illegal alien gang member, to put a bounty out like that. And when we look at what the governor or the mayor are talking about, they are the reason that gang members feel comfortable enough to do something like that.
Yeah. So at this point, when you're opposing and you're fighting and you're standing in front of ICE, this is part of what you're supporting, is protecting people like this guy.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the people on social media calling essentially to dox all of the members of ICE and all of these. This is your boy.
He's your boy right here. This is the type of person you would be supporting with all your activities.
Yep. All right. Former FBI Director James Comey is going to be in court today. He will appear before a federal judge in Virginia for an arraignment. He is expected to plead not guilty to criminal charges of obstructing a congressional proceeding by providing false statements. If he's convicted, which he might be, Comey could face up to 5 years in prison, which he will not do.
Right. Yeah, there's no way. Every time they present this idea, it's like, oh, this charge carries this much prison time, or this possible conviction will result in this. None of those things will happen.
It's not actually going to happen. Okay. We're getting the fallout from word of the Operation Arctic Frost, which Special Counsel Jack Smith ordered basically the wiretapping, essentially, of phones of a number of GOP lawmakers and other high-profile conservatives. Smith's probe into the January 6th riots and, I have to say, alleged attempts by then former President Trump to overturn the 2020 election is what he was trying to get at, okay? Missouri, now that's the news copy, guys. Don't get all pissy with me.
Yeah.
Senator Josh Hawley was on Jesse Waters' primetime saying this was all part of a plan by the Biden administration, just simply to go after political opponents.
They targeted 92 conservative organizations, including Charlie Kirk's TPUSA, just because they were conservatives, all the while they were raiding Mar-a-Lago and persecuting Donald Trump, trying to keep him off the ballot.
And once again, that was from Fox's Jesse Waters prime time. All right. Let's see here. I guess I have to do the dueling sound bites.
Yeah, dueling sound bites.
It is what it is.
It almost feels like we need a sounder for it, but by the time we figure it out, they're going to be done with it.
Yeah.
But then again, we'll get another one.
Yeah,
a couple years from now.
Okay,
get on that, Jerome.
Dueling sound bites. Yeah, he's just getting
just add it to the file.
Jim. Dueling sound bites. Chuck Schumer, Republicans, bad.
Thousands more are working without pay. And meanwhile, House Republicans are getting paid and not working. So federal workers working and not getting paid, House Republicans paid and not working. Very bad thing for them.
Okay.
Are House Democrats not getting paid?
Yeah, apparently not.
I'm curious.
Now it's Senator Ted Cruz, Democrats, bad.
I went and voted to open the government. The Republicans all stood together and voted to open the government, and the Democrats all said, shut it down. They said to our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, you don't get a paycheck.
All right, that was from the Faulkner Focus on Fox. All right, this is interesting, guys. The number of overdose deaths in Missouri declined for a second year in a row.
Yeah, I saw this.
Yeah, according to a report from UMSL's Institute of Mental Health, 1,450 people died of a drug overdose in 2024. That's about 500 deaths fewer than in 2023, and it's actually the fewest OD deaths in the state since 2016. That report credits the availability of naloxone as a key factor in that decline, among other things, but they say that's a key factor.
Okay, I was gonna ask, like, what is going on with that? Is it are we also experiencing a decline in availability of these drugs because of the shutdown border?
I don't know that we have had enough time to know that for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, because what did get in is still out there.
True.
Yep. So that will be interesting to see what the numbers look like next year, because that absolutely could be a factor. Okay, here's where we're at in the playoffs. In the ALDS series, Yankees beat the Blue Jays, which means they hold on because the Blue Jays are just one game away from going to the AL Championship Series. Mariners are now up 2-1 over the Tigers. They won last night. All 8 teams are going to be in action tonight. Mariners at Tigers, Brewers at Cubs. Let's see here. Obviously, well,
Located in the heart of St. Charles, Kevin's Guns is your family-owned destination for all things firearms. Whether you're a collector, hunter, or military enthusiast, we have it or can get it for you. From new to used rifles and handguns in every style and caliber, our friendly and knowledgeable staff is here to help educate you and ensure you make the perfect choice for your needs. Buy, sell, or browse our incredible selection at kevinsguns.net or call 636-493-1195. Kevin's Guns, where gun enthusiasts come home.
Are the days of a personal doctor gone? Not at Body of Health Direct Primary Care. I'm Dr. Randy Tobler to share how our design is putting the care back into healthcare. Plain and simple, our members, not insurance companies, get our exclusive focus. That means same or next day appointments, responsive answers to your concerns, and a no-spin, big tool chest approach. It's about time you get serious time devoted to your medical needs. To learn about healthcare the way it ought to be, schedule a discovery call today at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
Now, the Free Market Minute, brought to you by the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University.
Hi, it's Mike Ferguson from The Morning Show, and I'm here with Dr. Grant Black. And Grant, capitalism, that is increasingly under attack. But why is a free market system so important?
The simple answer, society is much better off because of free markets. Free markets allow individuals and business owners to freely choose what to consume, how to save, where to live and do business, what to produce, and how to protect our valuable resources, and so much more. And this can all happen without requiring heavy government interference. In a nutshell, free markets empower people to live their lives the way they choose. And this makes all our lives better.
The John W. Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University fosters and examines market-oriented approaches to economic and social issues. To learn more, visit hammondinstitute.org.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. You can be sure the mics will be hot. The cameras rolling today outside the federal courthouse in Alexandria, Virginia. Former FBI Director James Comey is due for arraignment in a criminal case stemming from allegations that he lied to Congress 5 years ago about media leaks. A majority of Supreme Court justices seems to be leaning in favor of a Christian counselor who's challenging bans on LGBTQ plus conversion therapy for youngsters.
Therapist Kaylee Childs argues that the ban is a violation of her First Amendment freedoms. Her attorneys argued on Tuesday that the laws passed in about half of U.S. states wrongly restrict voluntary faith-based therapy. The state argues the measure simply regulates licensed therapists by barring a practice that they say has been scientifically discredited and linked to serious harm. But the conservative majority court seemed unconvinced that states can restrict talk therapy aimed at changing feelings or behavior while allowing counseling that affirms children identifying as homosexual or transgender. Bob Agnew reporting.
The Canadians will return. President Trump says it will happen once a U.S.-Canada trade deal is reached.
The president made the prediction during an Oval Office meeting with Canada's visiting prime minister. Donald Trump's talk of making Canada the 51st state infuriated our neighbors to the north, who have canceled trips to the U.S. in big numbers. There's been a 23% drop in Canadian visits to the U.S. in the first 7 months of the year versus the same period in 2024.
And that's White House correspondent Greg Clugston. On a mission to safeguard federal personnel and property, some 200 National Guard troops are due for deployment today in Chicago. This is the city and the state of Illinois fight the troop deployment in court. Watching Wall Street, Dow futures 119 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Ma, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotions. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotions, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. That's why they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a crazy fast 5G network for just $25 a month. And if you're a business owner, you could really save a fortune. Dial pound 250, say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk. Everything you need and nothing you don't.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chan Scott with the first alert forecast. Going to be tracking a little bit of a cooler start this morning. Some patchy fog going to be sliding back in. Temperatures, the coolest they've been in the past month, close to the lower 50s this afternoon. Going to be seeing mostly sunny skies. Temperatures eventually back towards the lower 70s. Then as we head off into Thursday and Friday, temperatures continue to remain back towards mid-50s, mostly sunny skies. This weekend, a slight warming trend. Temperatures get closer towards the 80-degree mark, remaining dry. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chan Scott.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Public schools, like public libraries, should be free and open to all. Open enrollment allows parents to choose the school that's the best fit for their children. Maybe another school has a wider curriculum, is bigger or smaller. Maybe a kid is being bullied and would be more comfortable at another school. 75% of parents favor open enrollment. Open enrollment programs now exist in 43 states, and Missouri should join them. Our next-door neighbor, Kansas, has one of the strongest open enrollment policies in the nation. Kansas parents are trusted with choices and options, while Missouri parents must move out of their home to change public schools. And it's a trend. Nationwide, the percentage of students going to their chosen public school has steadily increased. Assigning kids to schools based on their zip code is the old way. Open enrollment is a better way. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Mike Ferguson,
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Phifer,
I triple saw Darius!
Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! This is your cousin.
Okay, before we get started right here, real quick, Susie Moore from RedState.com was filling in yesterday for Gabe, who was out. I got to tell you, her Kofifi dance was better than yours.
No kid.
I'm saying, I need you to step it up just a little bit.
All right.
Wow, shots fired.
All right. Why is Senator Josh Hawley again siding with union bosses over a free market for workers? Man, this has been such a weird thing to watch over the years. We're now joined by Mark Mix from National Right to Work. And Mark, here in just a little bit, there's going to be, some hearings on Capitol Hill, and it sounds like a really boring title, Health, Education, Labor, Pensions Committee, and they're going to hear hearings on labor law reforms and, a bunch of wonky type stuff. But the bottom line here is that part of what Senator Hawley is pushing for is probably going to be a part of this discussion. And it's once again, it seems, you tell me if I'm wrong, that he's siding with union bosses and forced unionism more than actual freedom for workers.
Yeah, indeed, Mike. Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Gabe. Good to be on with you. Yeah, about 10 o'clock today, that hearing's going to start. And this is a committee that basically oversees labor policy in America, education policy, pension policy, as you mentioned, Mike. And they take up these bills and these discussions on labor policy. And this labor law reform committee hearing today is going to have witnesses. And the chairman of the committee, Bill Cassidy from Louisiana, invited Josh Hawley to pick one of the witnesses to come and testify in front of the committee. And Josh Hawley said he's going to pick Sean O'Brien, the president of the Teamsters Union. And while there's nothing wrong with that, what is wrong with it is that the ideas they're going to be pushing, Josh Hawley and Sean O'Brien, deal with a bill that Hawley has introduced that would give the federal government and union officials more power over workers as opposed to less. And when we talk about labor law reform, we ought to go back to the 1930s when the federal government established this regime of forced unionism, forced association and forced unionism that basically was imposed on the states across the country. And so Josh Hawley has this bill that's going to be part of the discussion today. It may be the whole discussion today. We'll see how it plays out. But this bill would allow union officials to basically go to arbitration within about 120 days of a contract negotiation and allow federal bureaucrats from the National Mediation Board to impose contracts on private companies, private businesses for up to 2 years when an agreement can't be reached over all of the terms and conditions of employment that are part of a union contract in a workplace.
Morning, Mark. Gabe here. I'm still trying to wrap my head around this turn by Hawley because I did not see this particular aspect of his representation coming when we elected him. We see him now also, I saw him speak out against and kind of roast some Boeing officials, over this whole deal that we've got going out here. I don't expect you to have an answer to this, but what happened to Josh Hawley?
Hey, Gabe, you're the rocket scientist. You figure it out.
Yeah, really, yeah.
No, listen. I think what it is, and this is, I mean, I don't want to ascribe any power or any problems with Josh Hawley other than the fact that I think he's wrong on this particular case. Look, what happened in the last election is the American worker, the private sector workers in America agreed with a policy, with policies that President Trump articulated on the campaign trail that talked about securing the border, lowering taxes, lowering regulation, making America great again, keeping boys out of women's shower rooms and women's sports. Those policies basically attracted a broad base of support from across the aisle, kind of like Reagan did back in the 1980s. You know, those Reagan Democrats they talked about. Well, the conclusion that Republicans like Josh Hawley have drawn is, well, okay, these workers are now for us. They believe in our policies. They're voting for a Republican president. They're voting for a president who's articulating these policies. And we need to cement that. We need to basically continue that support. And Josh Hawley's idea of continuing that support is giving more power to union bosses as opposed to talking about the rank and file workers who rejected the views of union officials in Washington, D.C., who gave 99.7% of their political money to Kamala Harris, and yet the private sector workers voted in a majority for Donald Trump. So the solution is let's give union bosses more power, and that will prove that we're for the working men and women of America. It proves nothing except for more federal intervention in labor law, you're for more compulsory unionism, and you're actually for allowing federal mediators to impose contracts on private small businesses around the country. Doesn't make sense, Gabe.
Yeah, so Mark, we're visiting with Mark Mix from National Right to Work. And so let's look at this from the perspective of the guy or the woman who works in whatever company. They don't like the deal. They don't like how the union spends money, whatever the case is. If what's likely being discussed and promoted and pushed in this hearing today, if that goes into effect the way that the supporters want, like O'Brien wants and all the others, what does it mean for that worker?
Yeah, it means that it's possible that the federal government imposes a contract on him or her without his or her vote, without his or her affirmation, without even the employer agreeing, and without even the union agreeing, perhaps. This is really kind of, and it happens, unfortunately, under the law today, where workers who basically object to what the unions may be doing politically, ideologically, philosophically, or what they're doing when negotiating conditions on the shop floor, when they disagree with that, they have no say because the only people that can talk to their employer are union officials. Now, what the Hawley bill does is it basically puts this on steroids because when you're negotiating contracts, and Mike and Gabe, you know, it's not simple when you're talking about all the conditions in a workplace. You know, we're going to negotiate all the terms and conditions of employment, and there are some things that will actually hurt workers, like seniority, for example. You have a worker that makes 8 widgets an hour and one that makes 4, and someone wants to give a promotion or a raise to the person that is more productive. That's a violation of a union contract because generally seniority rules, and usually when you get into a situation like that, someone taps that aggressive worker on the back and says, "Hey, slow down, you're making us look bad." Those types of things are baked into federal labor policy when it comes to giving unions exclusive bargaining privileges. And one of the things that's primarily negotiated in the 24 states like Missouri that don't have right to work is a union security clause and union dues deductions. Those are usually the first two things on the table, and an employer has to agree to force all of his employees to pay union dues or fees to keep their jobs. And then secondly, they have to take money out of their paycheck before they see it and forward it to the union. Now, I'm sure that federal mediators will think long and hard before they impose forced unionism on anyone not. And union security will be one of the things that's imposed in these contracts that the federal government may impose on private workers if the Hawley bill ever passed.
What does the photo negative of the Hawley bill look like? Basically, what would a good labor bill that if you had your druthers that they would be discussing on Capitol Hill?
Well, there's another bill they should be discussing today in the Labor Committee, and that's Senate Bill 533, which is the National Right to Work Act. We've talked about this before, Gabe and Mike. This is a bill, a one-page bill that doesn't add a single word to federal law. It simply repeals the provisions in that 1930s law that allowed union officials to force workers to pay dues or fees in order to get or keep a job and force them to give up their associational rights to a monopoly bargaining agent who they didn't ask for, didn't want, and didn't vote for. That bill is easy. I mean, in the days of 4,000-page bills and 2,500-page bills, when we bring a one-page bill that doesn't add a single word to federal law, we think Congress should address that and should debate it. It should be talked about in today's hearing if you're talking about real labor law reform.
Hey, Mark, kind of as we wrap up here, let's look at the bigger picture here. When it comes to the federal government, what should the federal government's role be when it comes to these labor issues, because essentially, I mean, now they can target medium and small businesses and go after them like anybody else, but essentially we're talking about rules that apply to large union shops and things like that. What role should the federal government have at all? I mean, you know me, I'm a free market guy, but what's the right place for government, if any?
Well, I think that debate occurred again back in the 1930s. I hate to camp there, but that's where this started. And, the Supreme Court struck down the original National Recovery Act, the NIRA, as basically on state rights grounds back in 1935. They struck it down when the federal government tried to take control of private sector labor relations. I think labor law should be the state authority to basically, in the grand experiment of self-government, they should be able to basically be a laboratory for labor policy that works or doesn't work. And the state should be able to control their labor policy. Obviously, we've come way beyond that because the power of the federal government has expanded so dramatically beyond the enumerated powers that are articulated back in the Constitution. But Mike, I think that states ought to be able to address labor policy directly, and that would be a driver or something that would repel investment, business investment, and new job creation in states around the country. We're seeing it. The experiment's already underway with the right to work states. The 26 right to work states have 10 times greater manufacturing job growth in those states that allow forced unionism. They have double private sector job growth in states that allow forced unionism. So individual freedom and the state's ability to basically pass these policies that would be experiments in labor policy and attract capital or reject capital is, I think, a better solution.
All right. And Mark, as always, we've tagged you on social media, but people want to look up the foundation or the committee. What's the way to do it?
Yeah, nrtw.org for the foundation for what your legal rights are in the American workplace, nrtwc.org if you're interested in following the bills that Josh Hawley's supporting or the bills that are being considered in the United States Congress or in Jefferson City, for that matter.
All right, Mark, appreciate it.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Gabe. Thanks, Mike.
All right, another way to put it, the bills Josh Hawley is supporting or the good bills.
Or the good bills. Now, join Tim and Chris this Friday at Harpo's in Chesterfield for a live broadcast and happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m. Located in the heart of West County, Harpo's Chesterfield offers an excellent sports bar atmosphere, spacious patio, voted best in West County. Your one and only stop for all things for fun, food, and drinks. That's Harpo's. STL.com, HARPOS STL.com.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I like it, but they're going a little overboard with the dancing.
On News Talk STL.
Can't you hear the alarm?
Colombo and Company.
We've already been through 2 special legislative sessions in Missouri this year. Could there be another one? We'll discuss it Wednesday with Mo political insider Rodney Boyd, plus Danny Define and Closest Cap.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli here with our great friend Chris Cooper from Serenity Wealth Management. Hi, Chris.
How are you, Vic?
I don't want to put anybody else down, but when you go up and visit you at Serenity Wealth, your place looks like home.
So a lot of financial advisory offices, they have, the big mahogany desk or the big marble entryways and things like that. The stock market channel on the TV when you walk in the door, right? That doesn't really drive a good conversation. Good financial guidance and advice starts with a good conversation. People are nervous. People are afraid to talk about finances, right? And so you can see a little standoffish. Well, my objective is to try to have a good, casual conversation. By having those conversations about life, goals, objectives, it's what makes me understand what our financials are supposed to fund.
So if somebody does want to have a good conversation, how do they do that? How do they find you?
Our website is the best way to do that because you can get all the information you need to understand where we are, get a little bit more information, all that. SerenityWealthNow.com.
Reach out to Chris and Stacy today at SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
This is Tony Colombo, and my favorite Capriati sandwich is the cheesesteak made with American Wagyu beef from Snake River Farms, and you have to include a side of their amazing fries. I love Capriati's, and you will too.
Open 9 to 9 daily on Manchester and McKnight in Rock Hill.
Hey, Tony Colombo here with Tim Jones for our friends Rodney and Jen Wallner, the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway, the #1 home selling team in the St. Louis area. And I can say that from firsthand experience. My wife and I were blown away from the results that we saw from working with Rodney and Jen, from selling our old home faster and for more money than we thought possible to finding our family's perfect new home. They over-delivered every step of the way. And right now, it's still very much a seller's market. So, Tim, for folks that have been thinking about selling their home, it's a perfect time to call the Wallners.
That's right, Tony.
and don't forget, they're licensed in both Missouri and Illinois. So no matter where you are in the metro area, you can put St. Louis's #1 home selling team to work for you. The Wallners experience and work ethic, second to none. And of course, the numbers speak for themselves. The Wallners sell 15 times more homes per year than the typical realtor. Right now, they're working with so many qualified buyers, they'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. If you've been thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner Home Selling Team.
St. Louis's place to talk.
Freedom of speech is one of the anchors of our society.
News Talk STL.
Hey, this is Todd Showalter. Join me on Saturday at 5 as I try to put some fun back into this dysfunctional radio station. It's The Right Mind Show with me, Todd Showalter, at 5 on Saturday. And, you know, speaking of dysfunctional, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Okay, here's my hypothesis, the focus of my debate here. We are basically in a social media influencer era of politics.
Oh.
Okay, so then the question is going to be, is that a good or bad thing, or is it more nuanced and there are some good things and some bad things, or something else?
Okay, so
yeah, that's what I'm putting out there.
All right, so that the proposition is, as it stands, is yes, we and I agree with that proposition.
Yeah.
We are in definitely a social media driven version of politics that that we haven't really seen before. I think it's kind of evolutionary when you look at mass media, right, and its influence in politics,
or devolutionary.
Yes, I think on many instances, I think yes, the wider availability of public access to politics has actually diminished.
Yeah,
diminished politics on some level. It's weird because you would think. Now, okay, more information means more informed voters means better politics, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's supposed to mean. That's what I think we were sold. But I think back in the day where you actually had to travel to rural something or other, stand on a literal soapbox and discuss your potential bill that you're trying to pass, the farm bill or whatever, to real farmers, probably a lot closer to reality than what we've been getting in the social media era.
Okay, so it's definitely, I mean, what you just described, that's what I'm saying too. It is completely different, and different is not bad.
Right.
You know, and there are a lot of good things that can happen, and you can even go back in Missouri. This isn't even just, last couple of years. I mean, Matt Blunt, when he was the governor, he was one of the first politicians, because when he decided to not run for re-election, and that was the year that Democrats were going to end up, having a big election year that year. He decided to make his announcement and a statement on YouTube. YouTube was fairly new and was up and coming, and it was a big deal, but it wasn't the way that it is now. And he just recorded the video in the governor's office, made his announcement, and just put it out there. And the media lost their stuff.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Because they wanted to be able to pepper him with questions. And I get it, but he controlled the message. He controlled the environment, and this was before social media influencers, and he just put it out there and just gave it to everybody. But when I say a social media influencer of politics, part of what I'm talking about is that candidates are basically marketing to Instagram or marketing to X or TikTok even. I mean, and they're doing that more than they are to their actual district or state or city or whatever it is. Influencers who know nothing can actually become consequential because of the size of their audience. I mean, this is not a good trend.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not a good trend. They can, because the incentives are, I get monetized when more people see me, and and it doesn't matter what I say to get the monetization. So it's not a matter, I would say there's no journalism there. Well, there's no journalism in journalism. Anymore.
Gosh,
I mean, so I'm throwing that. But what I'm saying is that the incentives are messed up because of this. And we are following people because they're funny. They reflect our anger. they reflect our tribalism, whatever the case is. And yes, I'm talking to both the right and the left right now.
Oh, sure. Well, the thing is, it's a different ecosystem. People will argue that, well, it's the same idea as the news media chasing an audience as well. So
Right,
any media chasing an audience, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. No, I don't think so, because I think the ecosystem is different. It's one thing when you say, okay, here is the constellation of places where you get your news, and those are the people who are competing with one another. So your incentive is to be better at providing news, be more trustworthy at providing news, be more reliable at providing news, because your competition are other news organizations. When you get into social media, it's just a competition for eyes.
Yep.
And your competition could be anywhere from a guy who plays Fortnite to a kid who plays pranks on people on the street.
Right.
You know what I mean? So and it's all the same dumb stuff. The currency is just the eyes. You're not competing for a better a news product. You're competing for more attention.
Yeah.
Period.
Because I'm not arguing that anybody should have their right to commentate and say what they want to say. I'm not looking to have that restricted. I'm asking all of us to be more discerning.
Yes.
Is what I'm asking.
Yeah.
I mentioned like right when we started the show, right before you got in, I get pitches all the time from public relations firms, and that's great. If you got a PR firm, please add me, send me your pitches. They were trying to book an 18-year-old political commentator and quote unquote strategist, I think, who has a book out now. 18 years old. And I'm supposed to, what they wanted me to do was book an 18-year-old as some kind of subject matter expert that I'm supposed to put on the radio in front of thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and treat him like he is some kind of expert that we can learn from.
No. I don't think he's even old enough to have voted in a presidential election yet. So it's like, how am I supposed to take you seriously about presidential politics when you haven't even had an opportunity to vote yet?
Who's going to hire an 18-year-old strategist? I mean, that's just stupid.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So, but the thing is that there is a market for that sort of thing.
Oh, sure.
I mean, Fox now has a 23-year-old, so-called contributor who's like, here's my opinion on stuff, and they prop these people up as though, we're supposed to sit there and go, well, I can really learn from that. No, you can't.
Now here's one place where I think we do need to be careful. It's not as though 23-year-olds were never important to America. They kind of were the guys who signed the Declaration of Independence and did all that stuff.
Right.
So it's not as though age is necessarily the barometer. It is experience. It is knowledge for sure, because those 23-year-olds who signed the Declaration of Independence knew a lot more than the 23-year-olds of today. But also there's the what is the issue that we're asking them about? It's one thing to ask the 23-year-old, how do we appeal to other 23-year-olds? I will consider you a subject matter expert in that regard. I will consider you one who's like, yeah, I've got my hand on the pulse of the trends of where young people are thinking. Is like, this is how my generation engages with these sorts of subjects.
And the conservatives are a lot better at that than the leftists are. Because they hired the obese LGBT to be the one who wins back men.
Yes, young men.
You remember that?
I remember.
And so that was the left's influencer strategy.
Right, exactly. So obviously we're a little better at it. But the thing is, what ends up happening is, because of the whole influencer stratosphere that we've kind of been dealing with for a while, we take anybody who has any sort of platform and we elevate them in under all subjects. So the person who we're using as our outreach vehicle for young people, who's good at talking to them or good at engaging with them, has a pulse on the what they're thinking and how they're moving, how they're navigating politics. Those are the things we need to concentrate on. Then we grab that person and we say, okay, well, tell me, what do you think about our policy in Beirut?
Right.
And it's like, no, those aren't the same things.
Yeah. Tell me about your geopolitical take on what's happening in Venezuela.
Exactly.
I mean, no.
Well, okay, so just playing devil's advocate, though, somebody like Barron Trump, who I think is like 19 or 20, right? Yeah. He probably knows at least the reality of how politics works a lot better than some people in their 30s, right? Because he is in that environment.
Don't know about that.
No, not even.
I mean, because he's not. He stays in New York. He's the president's kid. He's going to have access to more people without a doubt. But I'm not listening to a thing Barron Trump has to say about anything.
Well, okay, but. So when President Trump did the interview with Joe Rogan, he credits TikTok for winning him the election. And he said that came from Barron and their idea because of the reach that it gets. You can interact with content and ideas and spread them a lot more than you can sitting in front of a TV
Well, that goes
show.
kind of what Gabe was just saying. Yeah.
So the targeting of the youth, it's twofold because the youth are also the ones that are more vocal, more active of creating content based on things that they like. So like a lot of the memes that we see that trigger the libs is made probably by somebody in their 20s. Like, you know, it's in their mom's basement, and they understand how to reach the youth more. So it's stupid that people would consider somebody that young to be a strategist, but at the same time, as a strategy to get those kinds of people familiar and have them be the next face of the generation, I think that there is some legitimacy.
But you know, the conversation when we had to focus on what they have to offer, we had to move away from the actual policy and constitutionality and function of government and protecting ours. We had to get away from the important stuff to focus on the influencer era.
Yeah.
You had to go a completely different direction. You're not wrong with what you're saying. You just had to go a different direction to get there from what actually has to be done in the real world.
I think part of the issue is I think some of us stuffy old guys here, we're because we are so now well versed, we forget what it was like to be a 20-year-old know nothing, and you know what I mean, and we just expect them to, like, well, why don't you have a complete knowledge of the works of Hayek? Yeah. You know, it's right. It's like, you know, when I look back at 23-year-old me, I did not either, but I did.
I didn't think that I did though.
Huh?
I didn't.
Oh,
think
no. Yes, absolutely.
You know,
I did. I was not presuming that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was trying to influence others to get out of liberal groupthink. So there's a value there. There's a value proposition of engaging young people, of dealing with how young people think. And there's also a deleterious effect of allowing basically the children to lead us, because we can't do that. They're going to lead us into traffic. So we need to figure out how to balance both of those concepts. And I'm not sure we definitely haven't done it. We've basically just elevated every good looking young girl basically with a MAGA hat to be our spokespeople, and that's the wrong way to go. Now, like I said, Tim Jones and Chris Arps will be. Wait, I already said this.
You did.
So I'll say it this time. Tim Jones and Chris Arps will be broadcasting their show from Harpo's in Chesterfield this Friday. So join them for happy hour.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Meteorologist Chan Scott with the first alert forecast going to be tracking a little bit of a cooler start this morning. Some patchy fog going to be sliding back in. Temperatures, the coolest they've been in the past month, close to the lower 50s this afternoon. Going to be seeing mostly sunny skies. Temperatures eventually back towards the lower 70s. And as we head off into Thursday and Friday, temperatures continue to remain back towards mid-50s, mostly sunny skies. This weekend, a slight warming trend. Temperatures get closer towards the 80-degree mark, remaining dry. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shane Scotch.
Looking for unbelievable deals? Stop by Overstock Outlet in Lake St. Louis or Warrenton. Open 7 days a week. Discover big savings on a huge variety of merchandise with no hassle. Just great prices. Visit us in Lake St. Louis on Highway N or in Warrenton on Boones Lake. Check out our Facebook page at Overstock Outlet Lake St. Louis or go online to overstockoutletstl.com. Unbeatable value, friendly service, and you never know what we'll have at Overstock Outlet.
Larry Connor's Commentary, brought to you by Vincent's Jewelers, offering a wide selection of jewelry, including lab-grown diamonds, affordable earrings, bracelets, necklaces, and rings, up to 75% off their natural counterparts. Visit vincentsjewelers.com. This is Larry Connor's Commentary on News Talk STL.
His name is Jay Jones, running for the next Virginia Attorney General. As I write this, there is still not one Democrat dropping their endorsement for Jay Jones. Now, this is despite text messages surfacing from a couple of years ago, where he talked about one of his political opponents saying he should get 2 bullets in the head, so should his kids. They should die in their mother's arms. Of course, now that it's public, he said, I'm sorry. And yet he's still being endorsed from Democrats like former Virginia Governors McAuliffe and Northam, and Democrat Senator Cory Booker. In the meantime, a New Hampshire Democrat running for office was asked, Do you condemn political violence? She said, I hope you have a good night, headed for her car. The reporter asked again, is murdering someone because of their politics wrong? No answer as she got in her car. Virginia's Republican lieutenant governor says the calls for hate and violence show the leadership of the Democrat Party is consumed with hate. You doubt that? Well, then why are Democrats still endorsing Jay Jones?
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
For 20 years, Harpo's Chesterfield has been the heart of West County's fun with our award-winning patio, voted best in West County, and excellent sports bar atmosphere. Our mouth-watering menu has made us famous throughout St. Louis. Plus, we've got great drink specials and the friendliest, most energetic staff around. Whether you're dining in or carrying out, Harpo's delivers fun, food, and drinks like no one else. Harpo's Chesterfield. Call 636-537-1970 or visit harposstl.com.
The Herzog Tomorrow Foundation provides private school tuition scholarships through Missouri's new Most Scholars program to cover the cost of accessible, high-quality schooling.
Hi, this is Myella Esser with the Herzog Tomorrow Foundation. Our private school tuition scholarships wouldn't be possible without the support of generous Missouri taxpayers. If you're a Missouri taxpayer interested in redirecting your tax dollars and sending them to Missouri students in need of a better education, please contact me at herzogmostscholars.org.
Better education for students creates a better tomorrow for all. Learn how you can help provide a better education for Missouri students at herzogmostscholars.org. That's herzogmostscholars.org. Also, sign up for The Lion, an initiative of the Herzog Foundation that carries articles covering a wide range of issues facing American families and culture. herzogfoundation.com. That's herzogfoundation.com.
News, analysis, opinion.
Don't always agree, but in love listening to your radio station. This is tyrannical stuff they're doing.
Elections have consequences. This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
Okay, stupid drivers are bad. We all agree with that,
of
right?
course.
Right?
Yeah.
But stupid drivers who vote wrong are even worse.
Oh, gosh. No, I don't want to coexist with you.
That's right. 7:36 right now. Okay, so there's this new study that came out. This is actually really, really interesting. It was published in a fun publication called Frontiers in Political Science, and they actually did a study on how people react to road rage-worthy situations, with the variable being bumper stickers of political stuff.
Nice. Okay. All right.
Yes.
See, these are the studies I'm very interested in.
Yeah.
I don't know what. I don't care what shrimp do on a treadmill, or the the mating habits of certain types of newts.
Right. Okay. By the way, are you guys bumper sticker readers?
I read bumper stickers. I do.
Yeah. What about you?
I am usually
totally
only on parked cars, but yeah.
I am completely a bumper sticker reader. I will go a little bit faster to catch up just to see what it says. I am so curious about it. And then if you see like a political one, then I want to get around them to see if they meet the stereotype of what I think they look like.
Why are you just? Are you in my car? He's like, he's just watching. There's apparently a camera in my car watching me do things, because that's exactly what I do.
I mean, it's bizarre because some of these vehicles will have like 20 or 30 different. So it's like I'm reading an essay while I'm trying to get to work sometimes, but also like it's like tattoos. It's like, what's wrong with? Why do you have all of these?
Yes, I regard tattoos as basically cars. I regard bumper stickers as car tattoos.
Yes,
it's basically the same. It's the same idea. It's like you're trying to communicate something to me, and you want to seem different from everybody else. And there's some who have like one,
right?
And then there's some that have 50, and I don't think there's any in between.
Why do I need to know this? Why are you showing this to me? Yeah.
I mean, when I worked for former Congressman Barr, I had our campaign sticker on the back. I don't know that I've ever had another sticker other than that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I've ever put a bumper sticker on any of my cars.
Yeah,
ever.
I don't even know if I put my own bumper sticker on
right, exactly.
I don't even know if I did that.
Nope. I don't have a station bumper sticker or anything.
And here's the thing is now I'm kind of glad I don't have. I mean, I love it when other people put, but like for instance, with what we do for a living, the way things have gone nuts. I might be asking for my tires to get slashed or something. Okay, so here's what happened. This study, once again, published in Frontiers in Political Science, found that drivers are more likely to react with hostility towards bad drivers when the bad drivers display bumper stickers from the opposing party or opposing movement.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I'm not surprised.
Yeah. And so one of the things they did, and they did like a controlled study. Now they admit, they're like, well, a lot of this was self-reported because it's how do I feel or whatever the case is. So they're admitting that, like, this is what people are admitting to.
Yeah, there are some limitations here.
Right. And they acknowledge that in there. So the study, and I'm reading this from Study Finds, and it's an analysis of the study. The study used computer-generated dash cam footage to simulate realistic driving scenarios. Participants watched videos of other cars either driving smoothly or driving badly, as in like cutting them off and, forcing them to hit the brakes and all that kind of stuff. Basically another day on 170.
Right.
The cars displayed no bumper sticker or neutral bumper stickers, I love my dog kind of stuff like that.
Yeah.
A proud Democrat or proud Republican stickers.
Okay.
Those were the controls on this.
Okay.
So here's what happened. They were more likely to honk or flip off the cars with the bumper sticker of the party they do not support.
Of course. Because it's basically you see the bumper sticker and you're like, okay, give me an excuse.
Yeah.
Give me an excuse. Give me a reason to express my distaste for you.
That's basically it.
Yes. And it's like, okay, now you got me off. Now I've got it. Okay. I'm going extra.
Yeah. Bumper stickers from somebody's own party didn't often soften the reactions to bad driving.
Not a mitigating factor.
But it didn't create the road rage. But the effect was, according to this, one-sided. Out party, with basically the other party stickers, made aggressive responses more likely.
Okay.
While the in-party ones didn't do much to reduce that you got mad, you just weren't going to say as much about it.
Right.
See, I'm kind of the opposite, though. If you cut me off and you got, a hair sticker, and I'm like, of course you're like that. Why would you be a good driver? That's the way you think. But on the other hand, if it's somebody on our side, it's like, well, come on, you're making us look bad. Come on, don't be like that, man.
That's the proper response, actually. You're always supposed to be madder at the ones you should know better.
So let me read part of this analysis here. Just react to this. I'm just going to read what was posted. These results build on growing research showing how partisan identity shapes behavior in settings that have nothing to do with politics. Previous studies have found that partisans are less willing to sit next to opposing party members at football games, less likely to sell them tickets, and less willing to date them.
Yep.
Now, I think that not dating them is actually valid.
That just makes that makes the most sense of all these, right?
Yeah.
Because that kind of goes to compatibility if you don't think alike.
Yeah.
Or at the very least don't have a large intersecting zone between you, right?
Yeah.
So get your mind out of the gutter. But I think part of the thing is the left has been pushing for the politicization of all of life,
and they've said that,
and they've been said everything is political. That was kind of one of their pushes on the left. So basically, they're getting what they asked for. They're getting the world that they've been through the various levers of power that they wield right now. So this is what they wanted.
Yeah. So this is often how we think. Instead, listen, I say just make it merit based.
Yeah.
Listen, only flip off the people who deserve it.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes.
Regardless.
If you're running a red light, it doesn't matter whether you voted for Harris or Trump.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you ran a red light, that makes you an a-hole.
That's right.
Right. I mean,
I got places to be, Gabe. Come on.
That's right.
Red lights are suggestions in St. Louis. It's kind of weird.
Yeah,
no
they
cop.
kind of are.
No.
No cop. Oh my goodness.
Oh man. Okay, so here's another aspect of the study that they should do, because they went to clear, proud Democrat, proud Republican.
Right.
Okay, so those are like, I think, here on the spectrum. They're near each other and towards the middle. I want them to do MAGA and coexist stickers.
Oh yeah,
because those are they go extra. Those two go a little harder, I think, in opposite directions from each other.
My guess is that the MAGA would draw the biggest emotional response.
Yeah,
I mean, it really
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, because I mean that's the not only the polarized support from so many people, and then the polarized hate from so many people. The coexist, it's like I just laugh at that when I see it, because I know people put that on to this day and think they're being like poignant on something, and I'm like, you realize you're just telling the world I'm dumb and I have no actual understanding of comparative religion.
it's so true. It's just,
I mean, that's what you're saying.
Yeah, it's pretty much. It's like, I think you are equally wrong. That's basically what the coexist sticker says. Because the thing is, all of the religions have a truth proposition that they're making, and they all cannot be true necessarily. Right. So all but like one of them might be right. I think there's one right. But all of them can't be right. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I mean then that's why defending the right to your faith is different than defending the faith itself. Because there are, like you said, I mean, there's a bunch of them that I think are just totally, completely wrong. But this is all ethereal and intangible. Not to say it's not important, but it is the most subjective thing you can imagine. Absolutely. Now there's a worse version of it. That's the We Believe ones, where it lists all the things that we we believe in science, and we believe that people should love who they love, and blah, blah. Like that one's worse to me because it's presupposing the truth of all of these statements that you're making, and it's saying I'm a good person. That's really what it's like. Look how good of a person I am. It's like I'm willing to bet you're not actually a good person.
No. But what makes you a good person, and what might anecdotally reduce your chances of having a road rage accident, is submitting Flashback Friday requests, some good old 80s bumper music. This week, let's go with what the most feel-good 80s song is. So go ahead and send this to me at Jerome at NewsTalkSTL.com.
It's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michael's Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michael's has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michael's Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Hi, Chris Arbs here. Join me and the team at Royal Banks of Missouri for their annual Economic Forecast Breakfast. The event takes place on Tuesday, November 18th at the factory in the district of the Chesterfield Valley. You'll hear from their experts and get a better understanding of what to expect from the U.S. economy in 2026 and beyond. Doors open at 7:30 a.m. and the program starts at 8 a.m. Attendance is free, but you do need to reserve a spot. You can RSVP by calling 314-212-1595. That's Royal Banks of Missouri.
Looking for a fresh eating alternative for you and your family? Head on over to CJ's Restaurant and Bar in O'Fallon. CJ's literally offers something for everyone, from young to old. We're a casual American eatery with a wide-ranging menu of pastas, salads, and sandwiches, all served in a comfortable, warm environment with a family-friendly atmosphere. From vegetarian options to hearty classics. We offer dine-in, carry-out, catering, and even have a banquet room for your special events. Come see us or visit us on the web at cjsofallon.com.
Concerned about the condition of your windows driving up your energy bills? I was too. It's only called STL Windows and Doors. Their Provia windows combine old world craftsmanship the professional way, the Provia way, with over 65 years of combined experience, locally owned, offering competitive pricing and personalized service that the big box companies can't match. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or stlwindowsanddoors.com. Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's morning music playlist at newstalkstl.com.
By the way, I just got a text. I'll have more on this tomorrow, but apparently the Freedom 13 now has an app.
Oh, nice.
Yep. And so I just got a text on that. It's available both Apple and Android. If you type in the Freedom 13, you should be able to find it. And that's all I know right now. But apparently that just launched a little bit ago, just to let you know.
Sweet.
All right. Bizarre question here. What's the strangest thing you have pulled over for, or the strangest thing you've seen somebody else pull over for?
Pull over like
when you're driving, to pull over and for, what's the strangest thing?
Well, I didn't see it, but I heard about it. A guy pulling over to pick up the fresh roadkill because, I guess it makes good stew.
I've seen that too.
Oh my gosh,
man.
Y'all,
that's a lot worse than what I was going to admit to. I was like, I think the weirdest thing I pulled over for once, I was driving to one of my games, and there was a turtle that was like going the wrong way crossing the road, and I pulled over and picked up the turtle. And
no, see, that's freaking heroic. That's
heroic.
That's better. Hey, I know the turtle. You're a freaking hero.
The turtle got to go back into the water.
You are a superhero. You picked up the turtle and
I picked
flew
up
it
the turtle
across the road.
That's right, because it was going the wrong way. And so that I thought that was like going to be the weirdest thing. And another thing I saw once on a highway where traffic was, it's a notorious place where traffic backs up. And it's like one of those that goes from 4 lanes or 5 lanes to 3 lanes.
Oh,
just a really bad leads. And I saw a woman in a beat up old clunker pull over real quick and then run out because a hubcap somebody's hubcap had fallen off. She had to go get the hubcap.
Oh,
it wasn't hers.
No, it wasn't her hubcap.
It was like, look, free hubcap. Which, by the way, you can go to, I don't think Big Lots is around anymore, but you can go to stores like that and buy them for $10.
You can go to Ollie's. They got them.
Yeah.
You can get a full set for $5.
Right. But she was like, you could only pull over a little bit, but she had to go out there and get the hubcap, one hubcap, and then added to the people were hitting the brakes and trying to get around.
Oh my
gosh. It was just terrible. But that was
shiny.
Because I saw this question. Yeah, basically, I saw this question on one of those radio trades things, like where like DJs and hosts kind of like exchange ideas.
Yeah,
and they said that they pulled over. They were buying something for their lawn. But they said that at one point a lady pulled over for a free cat tree. Another pulled over for parking lot oysters. Bad idea.
Oh no.
What?
Yeah. And so it's like, what are people pulling over for? I mean, like, for instance, there's
as in somebody selling like literal oysters
apparently
in a parking lot.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you go up here on Olive, there's that, I forgot what which gas station is, but every once in a while, like somebody will set up like their homegrown produce thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I made the great decision to pull over and grab some, they like plums or some of those.
Yeah.
It's hard to find good plums. Oh my goodness. I don't know. They must have their own tree. It was like fresh as can be.
Nice.
So I'll pull over for that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. But I mean, look, parking lot of oysters.
No, don't do that.
That sounds 20 times worse than gas station sushi.
Pretty much.
It's like, what are you doing?
But it's funny because I mean that's a lot of like marketing. You see the signs up, whether it is and so when
it's got to be hand painted in like off kilter letters. It's got to be a hand painted sign on a wood board with off kilter letters.
Okay, so 101 agrees with me. He says I brake for turtles if I can safely do so. I put them on the side of the road they're trying to reach. Basically females moving to nesting spots. That's how they end up on the roads.
Yeah.
But make sure it's not a snapper.
Yes, yeah. Well, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
The turtles are telling stories about you guys to their progeny.
I know exactly.
There's like there was this one amazing thing that happened to me. You'll never believe it.
Well,
I was abducted by aliens.
He may have been mad because he thought I was done, but he didn't see where he was going. But he was going to, or she, I don't know. I didn't look that close. But it was going to be like certain death if it got to the other side there. So it was,
you got to do what you got to do.
Right. And so, I mean, I think like animals, people get that. If there's an animal that's hurt or something like that, people are going to pull over. Obviously wrecks and things like that you're going to pull over, but there's some weird stuff that we've seen over the years.
Yeah. The only other thing that I can think of that at least I've done is, and not proud of it, but had to use a bush.
Yeah, no, you know what? See, back in the day, that was normal back then.
But you know why? Because back in the day, you didn't have a phone to tell you how far ahead the next bathroom was.
That's right.
You know, it's like I don't know when I'm going to get to another, because it looks like woods around here.
Yeah.
This is a really long road. There's only 2 lanes. I'm stuck in the middle of nowhere, and I got pee.
I've seen. I was traveling through Kentucky one time, and some guy on a unicycle just wiped out. I don't know if he was a hipster or if he was trying to promote
on a
unicycle. Yeah, was going
on the road.
Well, on the side, close to the in the
shoulder
lane.
there.
Yeah, but
still a unicycle.
Yeah, I didn't even know people still unicycle, but so I don't know if he was part of like some production thing trying to draw attention or if he was a hipster or what. But he was going along the way and all of a sudden just fell over and wiped out, and the people in front of us pulled over to check on him, and we were just like, well, they've got him, I'm gonna keep driving then. But
that
is
bizarre.
A lot of weird stuff. There is a lot of gross stuff I've seen though, but not
like with roadkill and stuff like that.
Yeah, like my buddy and I, we were driving home late at night through the wood, like a rural area.
Yeah,
and we found this bag on the side of the road that we were concerned, we're like, hey, did somebody somebody trying to hide a crime? So we called the cops and they showed up and like, oh yeah, people illegally will clean, some of the stuff that they hunt, they discard it illegally on the side of the road.
Jeez.
I'm like, okay, well, so that worst case scenario did not happen there, but it was foggy. It was like 1 a.m.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That sounds like a bad horror movie opening.
Absolutely. I am the type of person where I hear that weird noise. So let's go investigate that. And then you never see me for the rest of the movie.
You giving the rest of white people a bad name.
I was going to say, because that's the joke.
That's the white people activities right there.
The difference between white people and black people in a horror movie.
Right.
It's like, who was it? Was it, gosh, I think it was maybe Eddie Murphy. Or maybe it was Chris. He's like, that's the difference. And he said, because you'll hear, get out. And the white people are like, well, I wonder what that was. It must have been the wind.
Let me go in the basement. Let me go in the basement with a lighter and search the dark corners of this house.
Whereas black people will hear, get out. Like, okay, got to go.
See, that's where Not Today Satan came from. It's basically like, oh, hell no. I'm getting out of here. I'm getting out.
Okay, so we have an admission on Rumble. I pulled over and grabbed a golf ball that somebody hit off the golf course once. I hope that was a good golf ball.
I hope it was. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Entirely justified.
101 straight up says, when I was in high school, some lady got hit by a car because she stopped to pick up some oranges that were dropped from a hauler's table.
Oh, my gosh. Come on.
Oh.
The thing is, if you pull over, you got to be careful.
Right.
You got to get all the way over past the shoulder, get a good distance from that yellow line, right?
Yeah.
And just don't play in traffic. How about that? Don't play in traffic.
Now, Scooter says the weirdest thing he's seen was a homeless guy with a shopping cart full of camping gear and a live turkey.
A live turkey
in Florida.
In Florida.
Yeah, of course it was in Florida.
It's a Florida man. This is a Florida man story.
Are turkeys easily domesticated?
No.
So he was like a shaman or something.
Wild turkeys will mess you up.
Oh yeah, those are strong animals.
They're big. You ever see a wild turkey like in the wild?
Yeah,
they're actually they're kind of scary,
and they're actually really impressive birds. But those things are big, so that's kind of I'm impressed and questioning a lot of what I know about life right now by hearing this.
He's a shaman. Yeah, you're right. He's not homeless. He's just communing with nature.
Yeah.
Which he's going to try to eat.
He's going to kind of eat it later.
Oh man. Yeah. That's that. I think that wins.
That's
the weirdest. I think that's the weirdest one right there.
Well, and 101 going back to Florida says that they have a shrimp like road vendor, like food vendor.
No. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I would not trust in that weather. I would not trust shrimp.
They're selling shrimp on the side of the road.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, granted, parts of Florida, you're like right by the ocean.
Well, I guess to be fair, if you're going to have fresh, because the thing is, out in Midwest, we think of if you have fish, if you have any sort of seafood, it needs to be on ice,
right?
Because that's the only way you have gotten it here to survive. But if you're just pulling it straight out of the ocean, that's pretty fresh.
That is very fresh. I still wouldn't buy much on the side of the road, although I did pull over at their citrus, like big Florida real and load up on their citrus down there.
Oh,
absolutely. As though I couldn't get oranges here.
Everybody knows Florida oranges are the best.
Hey, Jamie Allman here for O'Fallon Family Floors, O'FallonFamilyFloors.com. Brian and his team, they're just amazing people. They're so proud of their operation, pride in every installation. You could see that in the Google reviews. Pride in the great quality, pride in the great pricing, pride in the great variety, and pride in the fact that you can go into the store right off of Highway K in O'Fallon, or the store will come to you. That's the promise of O'Fallon Family Floors, O'FallonFamilyFloors.com.
Now, the Free Market Minute, brought to you by the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University.
Hey, it's Mike Ferguson from The Morning Show, and I'm here with Dr. Grant Black. And Grant, does having more economic freedom make a difference in people's lives, such as maybe helping reduce poverty?
It definitely makes a difference. Economic freedom is critical for fostering well-being and prosperity. It enables people to make their own choices and pursue their own interest, like choosing careers, starting businesses, and innovating to make the world better. It thrives in environments that empower people, promote competition, and protect property rights, all while being supported by limited and healthy government. Economic freedom is a catalyst for generating higher incomes, greater wealth, more opportunities, better access to education, and improved health at all levels of society. It makes a difference.
The John W. Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University fosters and examines market-oriented approaches to economic and social issues. To learn more, visit hammondinstitute.org.
Looking for family fun that's different? Rev up your weekend at AAA Motor Speedway in Owensville, Missouri. We're Missouri's second largest asphalt go-kart track, offering thrilling racing and safe family entertainment for all ages and skill levels. Experience the rush as you navigate every curve and straightaway. Private events available. Create memories that last a lifetime at AAA Motor Speedway. Thank you to all of our veterans for your military service. We salute you. Visit AAAMotorspeedway.com and experience the rush today.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNVS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. You can be sure the mics will be hot. The cameras rolling today outside the federal courthouse in Alexandria, Virginia. Former FBI Director James Comey is due for arraignment in a criminal case stemming from allegations that he lied to Congress 5 years ago about media leaks. A majority of Supreme Court justices seems to be leaning in favor of a Christian counselor who's challenging bans on LGBTQ plus conversion therapy for youngsters.
Therapist Kaylee Childs argues that the ban is a violation of her First Amendment freedoms. Her attorneys argued on Tuesday that the laws passed in about half of U.S. states wrongly restrict voluntary faith-based therapy. The state argues the measure simply regulates licensed therapists by barring a practice that they say has been scientifically discredited and linked to serious harm. But the conservative majority court seemed unconvinced that states can restrict talk therapy aimed at changing feelings or behavior while allowing counseling that affirms children identifying as homosexual or transgender. Bob Agnew reporting.
The Canadians will return. President Trump says it will happen once a U.S.-Canada trade deal is reached.
The president made the prediction during an Oval Office meeting with Canada's visiting prime minister. Donald Trump's talk of making Canada the 51st state infuriated our neighbors to the north, who have canceled trips to the U.S. in big numbers. There's been a 23% drop in Canadian visits to the U.S. in the first 7 months of the year versus the same period in 2024.
And that's White House correspondent Greg Clugston. On a mission to safeguard federal personnel and property, some 200 National Guard troops are due for deployment today in Chicago. This is the city and the state of Illinois fight the troop deployment in court. Watching Wall Street, Dow futures 119 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Ma, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotions. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotions, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. That's why they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a crazy fast 5G network for just $25 a month. And if you're a business owner, you could really save a fortune. Dial pound 250, say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk, everything you need.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch with the first alert forecast. Going to be tracking a little bit of a cooler start this morning. Some patchy fog going to be sliding back in. Temperatures, the coolest they've been in the past month, close to the lower 50s this afternoon. Going to be seeing mostly sunny skies. Temperatures eventually back towards the lower 70s. Then as we head off into Thursday and Friday, temperatures continue to remain back towards mid-50s, mostly sunny skies. This weekend, a slight warming trend. Temperatures get closer towards the 80-degree mark, remaining dry. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hungry for the best steak you'll ever have? Head to the heart of Moscow Mills and discover Harry J's, a local landmark and family-owned steakhouse, serving up excellence since '98. From mouth-watering appetizers to decadent desserts, Harry J's has something for everyone. Enjoy our extensive bar selection while soaking in our friendly family atmosphere. Whether dine-in or carry-out, your meal is prepared to perfection. Make the drive to 300 Main Street and treat yourself to a taste of Moscow Mills' finest. Harry J's, more than a steakhouse. We're a tradition.
Looking for an underwater adventure or a scaly new friend? Dive into Tropical World Pets on Watson Road. For 32 years, this family-owned wonderland has been St. Louis's go-to destination for all things aquatic and reptilian. With over 7,000 square feet of aquariums, we're home to the area's largest selection of freshwater fish, including rare cichlids you won't find anywhere else. But that's not all. We've got tarantulas, snakes, and lizards galore. Tropical World Pets, 314-849-4020, or visit twpstl.com.
Mike Ferguson.
When they say it like that, you know they mean business.
Gabe Phifer.
He has great hair.
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
You're not talking to Bambi's baby brother here.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
All right, Loaded Dice's future is going to be headed to the courts here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, he was already dealing with courts because of, the indictment, criminal charges.
Yeah, that's a little thing.
Yeah.
Little thing going on there.
So I'll give you the update on that. The fallout from this Arctic frost thing, the spying on Republicans, man, I think this is just the beginning.
Yes, I think this is going to be, well, here's the thing. It's at least as big as Watergate. At least.
Yeah. I mean,
right?
Or at least it should be.
At least, well, yes. It's, I'll say,
and this is just based on a little tiny bit that we know. We don't know the whole story.
Yes, I'll say it's at least as involved and illegal as Watergate.
Well, probably.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like. And we're about to find out who the final four teams will be in MLB. It is playoff season, even though the Cardinals aren't in it. We're still a baseball town, so I've got those updates for you. 8:06 right now. Let's dump some news on you.
The Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks, the Morning News Dump.
Okay, so we know what the ballot language is going to be for the new Amendment 3 in Missouri.
Mm-hmm. And it's looking good.
It really is. A Cole County judge approves the language written by Secretary of State Denny Hoskins' office after rejecting two previous drafts. Remember, the ACLU and some leftist groups were suing. First of all, they don't want Amendment 3 on the ballot at all. But they also were suing because they didn't like the language that Denny wrote. The ballot language that has been approved is going to state that approving the new Amendment 3 will repeal the amendment that narrowly passed last year. It also states that abortions will still be allowed in cases of rape, incest, and medical emergencies. The most important thing, if it passes, it allows our legislature to once again restrict and ban elective abortions that do nothing more than kill an innocent human being out of convenience.
Yeah. This would be a much needed step forward, a huge step forward after the major step back of the old Amendment 3.
Exactly. Okay. Missouri's top lawyer takes the next step against Loaded Dice. KMOV's Corey Stark picks up the story from there.
Attorney General Catherine Hanaway is asking a court for a partial summary judgment against Montgomery. If granted, he could be ousted from office immediately. The Attorney General says that there is now enough evidence in 3 areas for Montgomery to be removed. Those are the refusal to transport detainees for medical treatment, the handcuffing of the Deputy Corrections Commissioner violating her civil rights, and using taxpayer-funded vehicles for personal use. Attorney General Hanaway is asking the court to confirm these violations and allow the sheriff's immediate removal.
Okay, Sheriff Montgomery is asking the courts to dismiss the case, as you would imagine, His argument, among other things, he says voters should make the decision in the next election, not state officials removing the local guy who got elected, which there's a logic to that. And that's all that he's got, because he definitely did all the stuff they're accusing him of.
Yeah. I mean,
and more.
Yeah. Just as a theoretical discussion about, overturning the will of the people when it comes to voting in a particular person into office. Yes, that's a valid discussion to be had. In this particular case, though, come on, bro.
Yeah.
It's like you done did it, and absolutely you deserve to be.
And there was more to it. Like, for instance, the whole reason we call him Loaded Dice, he admitted and almost bragged about using.
I thought there was a recording too.
Yeah. Oh, there was. We played it.
Mm-hmm.
Trick dice to make a guy think he was literally having the dice rolled for his career.
Yeah, he said let's roll the dice to see if you get fired.
Right.
Today. That I think is
something
very close to the quote. I want somebody to ask to roll for his probation or something.
Right. There you go. Oh man. All right. Federal agents in Chicago arrest a suspected gang leader, specifically the leader of the Latin Kings gang, who is accused of offering cash bounties to capture and kill Chief Border Patrol Agent Greg Bovino. 37-year-old Juan Espinoza Martinez has been charged with a single count murder for hire with a criminal complaint saying that he sent Snapchat messages offering $2,000 for any information about Bovino and $10,000 for killing him. Bovino was on Fox's America Reports.
That was an illegal alien that was comfortable enough living here in the United States, an illegal alien gang member, to put a bounty out like that. And when we look at what the governor or the mayor are talking about, they are the reason that gang members feel comfortable enough to do something like that.
So keep this in mind that for every other time we see stories coming out of, Chicago would be the closest one, but whether it's Portland, the Portland police chief begrudgingly doing some things with Department of Homeland Security, but opposing most of their efforts. Illinois not only going to court, but we're now getting reports ordered local police to stand down when federal agents were under attack. So every time you hear one of these fringe leftists doing everything they can to get in the way of efforts to remove illegal aliens, this is part of who they're trying to defend, are guys like this Latin Kings guy.
Yeah, absolutely. The Democrats and the left have made common cause with the bad guys. Yeah. And for some reason, they don't feel bad about it.
All right. Former FBI Director James Comey going to be in court today. He is going to appear before a federal judge in Virginia for arraignment. He is expected to plead not guilty. The charges are obstructing congressional proceedings by lying to Congress. I mean, that's really what this is.
Mm-hmm.
If convicted, Comey could face 5 years in prison. The spoiler alert here is that he's not going to do 5 years in prison. He might be convicted, though.
That's entirely possible.
Yeah.
That's true. And now, of course, it would turn into a fine and probation. Because, and that's the worst that would happen. That's the absolute worst that we. So
then he writes a book and makes money.
Then he writes a book and makes so the fine is meaningless.
One book.
That's true. But accountability is still a pipe dream right now. We're hoping for a little bit, but I'm still looking for the Epstein list too.
Oh, that would be nice. Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Let's talk about Arctic frost for a minute here. We know of over a dozen Republican senators. It turns out that this expands beyond that. At least the accusations, the initial reports, Senator Josh Hawley is saying, in addition to him and other U.S. senators, that dozens of conservative organizations and people within it had their calls tracked by Jack Smith as a special counsel for the White House, or special counsel during the Biden years in the White House, I should more accurately say. Senator Joni Ernst, Republican, was on Fox's The Faulkner Focus, and she said they need to look into this a lot deeper.
We have concrete evidence and proof that it was President Joe Biden and his deep state operatives that went after Republicans, anyone in opposition. It was Joe Biden. Chew on that a little bit, Democrats.
Okay, so there have been no direct accusations or evidence presented that says Joe Biden signed off on it. There's been nothing that says he didn't, but there is no evidence of saying that he directly did. But Jack Smith, of course, this is all part of the investigation after the January 6th riots and all that sort of thing. So will they trace that directly back to Joe Biden? It's very possible.
But
I want to be accurate and say we don't have any of that evidence at the moment.
Yeah, it's either Joe Biden or the AutoPen.
Precisely.
And this wasn't just limited to politicians either.
Right.
There's evidence that they also spied on Turning Points and other similar groups as well.
Right. Yep. Dozens of them. All right. The man who tried to assassinate a Supreme Court justice has been sentenced, but there's a big twist because the judge went really lenient on him.
Nicholas Roski was arrested before he could kill Brett Kavanaugh, and he could have gotten 30 years in prison. Instead, he received an 8-year term from U.S. District Judge Deborah Boardman, who says she specifically took into account the fact that Roski is now living as a woman. Boardman stated that in sentencing, she was influenced by, quote, the fact that she is a transgender woman and will be sent to a male-only prison facility. Michael Harrington reporting.
So basically claiming the transition or and the thing is, this may entirely be true that this person believes themselves to be in the wrong body, but
do we have pervert privilege now?
Yeah, basically it's pervert privilege, because claiming to be of the wrong gender will buy you 22 years off of your sentence.
Yeah.
That's what I just heard.
Yeah. That's so stupid.
And that's what every criminal just heard too.
Yes, precisely it is. Yeah.
Like even if you don't get, best case scenario, you get transferred to the women's prison, right? And there are some of these states that will do that.
Oh yeah.
That will basically, but even if you are a sex offender, by the way, you know,
if you're in one of those dudes, just go, hey, judge. Yeah. I feel like a woman today.
Man, I feel like a woman. Just
I feel like a woman.
Quote the
Shania
song.
Twain, yeah.
Shania Twain. But best case and that's the best case scenario. Worst case scenario, you get some time shaved off of your prison sentence.
Yeah, because you decide to get into the. All right. The number of overdose deaths in Missouri declined for a second year in a row, according to a report from UMSL's Institute of Mental Health. 1,450 people died of a drug overdose in 2024, but that is down about 500 deaths from 2023, and is actually the fewest OD deaths in the state since 2016. And 2016 is kind of when the first wave of like the fentanyl crisis sort of hit. The report credits the availability of naloxone as a key factor in that decline.
Right. So that suggests, I mean, if the idea that, well, we're coming off of these drug deaths because of a drug that prevents ODs, that isn't saying that drug usage is down.
No,
it's just saying that
fewer people have died.
Of it. So I'm curious if there are going to be any factors that is reducing drug availability, drug uses, or anything like that, because whatever those factors are, whatever's contributing to those factors, maybe we ought to invest in making those things happen more and faster around the country.
Okay, all 8 teams still in the playoffs on the field tonight. They're going to start the games at a staggered 2-hour increments here. So 2:08, Mariners and Tigers play. If the Mariners win, they move on to the championship series. At 4:08, the Brewers and Cubs play at Wrigley. The Brewers, once again, if they win, they go to the championship series. Let's see here. Blue Jays are playing the Yankees at 6:08 our time. If they win, then they move on to the American League Championship. And then the Dodgers and the Phillies are playing as well. Dodgers, 1 game away from moving ahead as well.
I see your indifference. Stop it right now before you blow us all away.
Mommy, what are those Democrats up to now?
Can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin God.
Hi, I'm Dr. Alan Link, owner of the Dental Link. You've heard ads about teeth in a day, but did you know that you will be chewing on plastic, acrylic teeth? Here at the Dental Link, we can give you porcelain crown and bridge teeth utilizing mini dental implants that function much more like real teeth at about half the cost. Plus, mini dental implants are less invasive, less painful, and your recovery time is much shorter. Give us a call at 314-794-6464 or simply visit us today at thedentallink.com.
Big things always happening at The Hideout. Tim Jones here with a reminder. The Hideout is famous for the Sunset Patio. 50 big screen TVs, live music, special events, and of course, the food. The Hideout in High Ridge features the best handcrafted burgers around, the signature Sunset Dip, Dave's Delicious Chili. See for yourself why The Hideout is the stop for lunch, dinner, or their famous happy hour on the Sunset Patio. Check it all out. HideoutSportsBar.com, Hideout Sports Bar on Facebook. See it for yourself, 3367 High Ridge Boulevard. I'll see you at The Hideout.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
NPR, guess what? Got defunded, and they're going to close down operations. If they're not going to get federal funding, well, then guess what? There are plenty of radio salespeople out there in the United States who can sell time big time. You know why they don't sell sales team, hire a sales team? Because nobody will buy advertising because they suck so bad. Oh my God. You don't see people.
You're so correct. That's it right there.
Vic Porcelli, live and local weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Yes, it's been really hot and humid, but fall and winter right around the corner. Tim Jones here to tell you, time to get a hold of Chad Hansen and the gang at Hansen's Tree Service for your home or your business. Grinding, land clearing, green waste recycling, tree consulting, removal, or pruning. The organic mulch from Hansen's a wonderful addition to beautify and spruce up all your landscape beds. They offer substantial volume discounts for bulk orders and emergency tree removal. Just go to hansenstree.com. That's hansenstree.com.
The Democrat Party is going to have to go back toward the center.
News, analysis, and opinion.
I've never called a talk show before, but this just irked me.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Good morning, St. Louis. Hey, it's Vince from The Vince Show right here on News Talk STL every weeknight at 8. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Saw another one of those videos making the rounds on social media. It's both fascinating and a little bit scary because it's basically a protesters yelling and screaming stupid stuff at cops.
Right.
But it turns out it's fake.
Oh, it's one
AI.
of those.
It's AI. And it is incredibly convincing if you're just watching the video. And I mean, I knew something was wrong the first time I saw it because one, the thing is that they're yelling, and I've got the audio from it here in a second. They're yelling something completely inane and stupid, but I have heard leftist protesters against
inane
cops
stupid things
yell inane and stupid things that are not related to what's happening.
Yeah.
But then some other things happened. I went, oh, wait a minute, that can't be right. And then I kept digging, and then it was clearly AI.
So you had to watch it a few times?
It was, on first glance, it wasn't. And
if you were just scrolling, you would have been caught on it.
And this video is still being shared to this moment by people who are fooled by it with the whole, that's what I voted for, FAFO. And
that's what you get.
And then you dig down, and then eventually in the comments, somebody goes, I think that's fake, guys. It's the no queso, no cheese video.
No queso, no cheese.
So here's what you're going to hear. It's looks like a 20-something, scrawny white guy yelling at a cop who's in the riot gear and got the thing. And then, of course, you hear the spray, which is the pepper spray. And here's how the video goes.
Queso, no cheese! No queso, no cheese! You hear me? No queso, no cheese! Get back! No! My eyes! I can't see! I can't see! No queso, no cheese! No queso, no cheese! No queso, no cheese! Back it up! Back it up! No cheese!
Yeah, and that was supposed to be like a fifth grade little black girl that.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so the thing is, did you see the video?
I did.
Okay,
that's what she gets.
A little too spicy.
She fafoed.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, not only she didn't turn in her homework, and the thing is that the cop just calmly sprays the pepper spray, and somebody's like, when he's 3 inches from his own face.
Yeah.
And had no react. No, that's not how that works.
No.
And also, just doing audio video. I can tell you that clarity of audio is impossible in that.
You can't get voices that clear if you're just recording from your phone in the middle of a crowd.
Right.
No. And of course the guy was very clear as, oh no, my eyes.
Yes.
There are indicators.
A lot of indicators.
But the thing is, you have to be looking for it.
Yeah, because that is really convincing video if you're just glancing at it.
Let's say you're scrolling by and you just hear it on your phone. Very briefly.
Right.
You scroll to the next thing.
Well, and I saw it on my laptop. And if it's just on my phone with that little screen, you may not even notice it, except for the actual behaviors that you're like, that doesn't make any sense.
It's like, wait a minute.
But here's the thing. Funny? Sure.
Oh, gosh, yes.
It's funny. And there are enough real life FAFOs out there that, people can put out there and say this. But what was a little disheartening to me is I see how many people were fooled by it, but it's because they want to be fooled by it. They want this to be true. They want the fifth grade girl to get pepper sprayed.
Yeah, apparently.
And, that sort of thing. And we want that. And so they're spreading it far and wide. And so now people are starting to catch up going, guys, this is fake.
Right.
It's just, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is that I would absolutely believe that some leftist protesters would somehow make it a connection to Mexican restaurants and yell, no queso, no cheese. I actually think that some of these have become that stupid.
That is a legitimate, I think that is a legitimate assumption on your part that a chant that dumb could come from a group this stuff.
Because there have been some activists who have said, if you support this ICE Gestapo, then you have no right to ever go to a Mexican restaurant.
Literal.
They've actually said that
on news programs,
right?
It's like they're one of the talking heads. They're an expert, and they're like, no, you have no right. You have no right to your burritos if you want to. It's like, what are you saying?
So
we have Taco Bell?
Is this news analysis right now?
Who's stereotyping? Who's the one saying all the brown people are illegal? Who's the one saying all the Mexican? I mean, who's the one stereotyping? It ain't us.
Yeah.
I want my tostada.
Yeah, seriously.
And from a real Mexican restaurant, not Taco Bell.
Not Taco Bell. Taco Bell is American Mexican foodstuffs.
It's a food-like substance.
But look, I think part of the deal with the proliferation of AI videos and things like that is that we have to become more we as in collectively the public have to become more media savvy in a very, very short period of time, or else we're going to get it swallowed up by this stuff.
Here's the thing, though. Before that, and you're 100% right, we have to want to be able to discern, and we have to value discerning real from fake, because all this does is it obviously supports the narrative of our side,
right?
But it's not real.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you have to have a certain desire, right? You have to have a certain desire to seek out truth as opposed to validation. And look, here's part of the problem. Even if you are on the side of truth, and and you see truth being exemplified in some fake video, so you're wanting to support it, so and it's validating you. You can still be wrong if you support it in a way that doesn't promote that or that doesn't recognize that this is fake.
Because you've
got,
what I mean? The ends don't justify the means, kind of thing.
Right.
So that's why it's like, if we think we're right, then we shouldn't be afraid of the truth.
Right.
And so if we say, well, all that matters is that our side wins or our issue wins, it doesn't matter.
Feel validated.
Yeah. It doesn't matter how I do it. It matters how you do it.
Absolutely.
It matters a big deal how you do it.
The last fake video I saw, by the way, was of a cat chasing away a bear.
Yeah.
Now
that's right.
There are.
I saw that one.
Here's the problem, though. We've seen real videos of cats chasing away bears.
Yeah.
So the first time I saw, and I've seen like 3 or 4
the cat
variations.
was on the porch.
Yeah,
like
cat was on the porch.
It was like a real fat cat.
But this one there was a baby there now. Like they threw a baby on the porch, and now the cat is protecting the baby from the bear. But the thing is, once you kind of evaluate the scenario, it's like, wait a second, what's happening right here? Is it the bear goes around the baby and the cat attacks it from a different side? It's like, wait a second. This is so fake.
Yeah.
Except I'm aware that cats have actually chased away bears, particularly black bears, from homes before.
Yeah.
I've seen those security videos. So I wasn't surprised necessarily at the actions. It's just aspects of the video that indicated that it was fake. So then it's basically following the same suit, but with a non-political issue. It's like it's validating something I know is true, but with something that is fake. But how do you square that?
Yeah, but the one where the cat walks up to the security camera and flips you off, I'm pretty sure that one's real.
Oh yeah, with the little middle paw, little paw. Yeah. They'll do that.
I mean, that cat's just a jerk.
Yeah,
I think it's real.
Yeah. And I mean, I follow pages that they share AI generated videos that are supposed to be humorous or satirical.
And
nature,
I'm all for it.
The issue that I've seen now is that there's actually a video that people have been sharing of a supposed crime taking place, completely AI generated, and people were trying to identify who the criminal was, and they were going through people's social media pages saying this might be the person, that might be
looks like this guy.
100%. The creator of the video came forward and was like, no, that was AI generated for like a project I was working on. So that's, I mean, we're clearly at some sort of point of no return when it comes to AI generated things. And my residual fear is how long until we have a AI politician?
Oh yeah,
wasn't there somewhere in the country where it's either a spokesperson or there's somebody is like a political leader of something. And then at some point, let's go one step further. How long until you have an AI clergy?
Oh yeah,
who is creating some new like religious doctrine or something like, and people are following what's not real.
Well, and that's absolutely possible considering the fact that a lot of these mega churches, what they use is they use simulcasts for their sermons. So instead of having a pastor on the dais like right in front of you, you watch the big screen and it's a pastor on a dais elsewhere. Well, how easily could you simply replace that pastor? It's just AI, but it's an AI person on a simulated dais in a simulated Paris, someplace where you've never actually seen, and they're just giving you doctrine that's against your actual religion.
Okay, so what about this? Here's how it starts, though, because that's where I think it ends. Here's where it starts. Let's say that you're Protestant, and somebody says, you know what would be great is if we brought to life Jonathan Edwards from way back when. We've got his his sermons that were written.
Right.
And so we can create AI Jonathan Edwards and he delivers a fiery sermon, sinners in the hands of an angry God, and then that would be at least, it would be AI. You could watch it, but it was real. But like I said, that's where it starts as opposed to where it ends with what you're talking about.
Right.
Now, apparently, there is already a term for that, for people that worship AI as a god. They're called robotheists, according to Corporeal Being.
Oh, no.
I have actually seen on Instagram, at least, that there was, and I couldn't tell if it was an art project or real, but people that are saying, join our church, we're going to worship the AI because, for whatever weird reason that would be. But I'm also concerned. I mean, we've seen with government corruption. I mean, how long until they're using AI to fabricate evidence to go after political opponents?
Oh, absolutely.
Did you see what Ted Cruz actually said? Did look at this video of him, punching the waiter at the restaurant? I mean, and you won't be able to tell, but that's absolutely on the way, if not happening already.
Oh, it's so terrible. But you know what's not terrible? The Washington Guard is putting on the 4th annual The Price of Freedom Patriots Banquet, honoring real American heroes. We've got featured speakers, Colonel Jack Jackson, who's a Marine, former state rep, and a test pilot for Boeing's Harrier jets, as well as founder of Warriors and Wild Men, Doug Giles. He's going to be one of the keynote speakers as well. With Master of Ceremonies, Jamie Ullman. I think I know
that guy.
Yeah, I think I know that guy. That's October 11th. That's this Saturday, by the way, from 5 to 9 p.m. at Parish Hall, 2401 Near Road, I think, Neier, in Union, Missouri.
Hey, you hear me? What's your name, soldier? What's your name, soldier? Sergeant Pepper.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chan Scott with the first alert forecast. Going to be tracking a little bit of a cooler start this morning. Some patchy fog going to be sliding back in. Temperatures, the coolest they've been in the past month, close to the lower 50s this afternoon. Going to be seeing mostly sunny skies. Temperatures eventually back towards the lower 70s. And as we head off into Thursday and Friday, temperatures continue to remain back towards mid-50s, mostly sunny skies. This weekend, a slight warming trend. Temperatures get closer towards the 80-degree mark, remaining dry. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Shane Scott.
Commentary with Tommy Lahren next.
If your cash is sitting in a savings account, it's at risk. Old school advice says save more, but today the strategy is broken. When inflation spikes, they print money or cut rates, your dollar shrinks. So do your savings. The solution? Own something real. Physical gold and silver. When the dollar drops, gold and silver prices rise. And with Noble Gold, owning gold is simple. Just visit noblegoldinvestments.com and chat with a specialist. The knowledge is free. The protection is priceless. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult your financial advisor before making investment decisions.
Here's Tommy Lahren.
The assassination attempts on President Trump weren't enough. The public execution of Charlie Kirk wasn't enough. The 1,000% uptick in assaults on our federal agents, still not enough. The leftists, the libs, and yes, mainstream elected Democrats all singing off the same sheet of music. And they won't stop because, frankly, I don't think they care what the ramifications are. Fascist this, Nazi that. We've heard it all. Real fascism is not just someone who disagrees with me politically. It's dictatorship, it's state-run media, it's It's suppression of dissent. It's political violence used to silence the opposition, which, let's be honest, sounds a lot closer to some of the tactics we've seen from the radical left. If Democrats really want to have a conversation, let's do it. Let's talk about policy, solutions. But this fascist nonsense, it's a political crutch, a fear tactic, a distraction, and honestly, it's getting old.
For more commentary like this, go to foxnewspodcast.com.
Kathy Connor from Connor Roofing is here. Kathy, how you doing?
Good. Hi, Vic.
You know, when you need a roof, I don't want to call a stranger. I want to call you.
Yeah, thanks. At Connor Roofing, we're more than just a roofing company.
How long you been doing it?
Since 1993.
And year after year, storm after storm, you guys are always there.
Because this is our home too, Vic. Our kids go to school with your kids. We cheer for the same teams. Go Blues!
So support your neighbors. Call Connor Roofing at 314-375-7475 or CONNER roofing.com.
Thanks, Vic.
JC's Wayback Machine.
This week, it's an absolutely hilarious interview with Bob Euchre, plus Billy Bob Thornton with an interesting story about what should have been a great day with Mark McGuire, but turned out sort of bad, and Bowie and Freddie as you've never heard them before. And don't forget the brand new JC Sunday Showgram, Sunday mornings 7 to 9, all brought to you by the Weber Automotive Group.
It's JC's Wayback Machine. Every Saturday night, 6 to 9. News Talk STL.
With all of the celebrations, anniversaries, and holidays coming up over the next few months, where are you going to go to get that special something for the special people in your life? Newsteaders Fine Jewelers, of course. Newsteaders Fine Jewelers, found 24/7 at wowdiamonds.com. Tim Jones here to tell you all about Newsteaders Fine Jewelers. Richard Newsteader and his team serving our region since 1961 with awesome, honest jewelry solutions. They've got everything from diamonds to wedding engagement rings, hand-engraved items, pendants, earrings, and so much more. You can find them 24/7, wowdiamonds.com. That's Newsteaders Fine Jewelers, wowdiamonds.com.
News, analysis, opinion.
Historic meeting between European leaders, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and President Trump.
We want to stop the killing, get this settled.
101.9 and 94.1.
We all want peace.
News Talk STL.
The Mike Ferguson Show is one of my favorite programs. In addition to Larry Connor's USA, catch my program at 6. Now, back to Mike.
All right. We now know what the ballot language is going to look like for the new Amendment 3.
Oh,
okay. So I'm going to go through the bullet points here, but let's talk about why this really matters. It's actually a really good outcome of this step of the process here, because what was happening, as you know, just to kind of follow up and put a bow on this part of the story, is that a lot of pro-abortion groups, leftist groups, were first of all trying to get the new Amendment 3 thrown off the ballot. Now, they had no legal grounds to try that, and that got struck down. The judge, no. But then they argued the ballot language was unfair and was insufficient, meaning that it's biased and trying to influence votes. Reality is it probably was. Obviously, we've seen that before, because when the old Amendment 3, the pro-abortion Amendment 3, then Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft did everything he could to write the brutal truth about that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, was his language biased against it? Yep. It was true, but it was biased, and eventually a judge wrote language that turned out to be pro Amendment 3. So it ended up being biased the other way, which is what I was worried about in this case, is that a judge would end up writing it. That's what I was worried about. Well, they kept sending it back to the Secretary of State. He kept sending another draft. And so now they've approved it. So the new Amendment 3, which we are begging for you to vote yes on in November 2026. So the ballot language is going to say this: shall the Missouri Constitution be amended to guarantee women's medical care for emergencies, ectopic pregnancies, and miscarriages, ensure women's safety during abortions, ensure parental consent for minors, repeal Article 1, Section 36, approved in 2024, allow abortions for medical emergencies, fetal anomalies, rape, and incest, and prohibit sex change procedures for children. Nobody with a shred of common sense or shred of morality would be against any of those things.
Yeah, from what you read, there's absolutely nothing controversial for anybody that's not an absolute lunatic. I mean, and that was the issue with the old Amendment 3, at least in the circles that I'm part of, is that people were saying, well, here's what we want, citing the already existing red legislation. But they thought that was the new, at the time, what that Amendment 3 proposal was. And no matter how much I try to read the actual word for word of it, they, for some reason, just couldn't get it out of their mind that they were being deceived. Then you go to the ballots, and the ballot wording was not accurate or even remotely close to a good summary of what people were voting on. This is a lot more, I think, of what people actually want.
Right. And so Secretary of State Denny Hoskins did a really good job navigating this. So he just, because what was happening is the first time he put in, the judge basically said, okay, part of this I'm okay with. You got to rewrite the rest. So we went and said, and he goes, okay, well, more of this I like, except this one thing. So then they came back with what I just read. Okay, let's talk about why this matters. Because following up what you just said, Jerome, is that people were lied to. They argued Missouri's, their words, draconian abortion laws doesn't allow for a woman who's been raped to have an abortion, doesn't allow for the treatment of an ectopic pregnancy. I actually heard somebody at one point argue that Missouri's draconian abortion laws didn't even allow for the delivery of stillbirth, which was beyond nonsense, beyond. And they were just dishonest. And like you said, we pointed out directly, here's the statute, explicitly allows these exceptions, but they didn't allow that. And the ballot language was very, very dishonest. It was written by that judge. And so in this case, what we have here is the truth, but the fact is that it's more marketable. Now, I have heard some so-called conservatives, I don't know that they are, I think they might be plants and trolls, who have tried to argue that, look, this specifically says it allows for abortions. Okay, it allows for abortions in the case of incest, confirmed incest, rape, and if there's a medical emergency, which Missouri law is going to define as life-threatening, immediately life-threatening. And so that's about 1%, 1.5% of abortions. That's it. Now, that's still tragic when an innocent child is killed. But if I've got the choice to save 99 out of 100 or save 0 out of 100, the moral imperative is beyond clear.
Yeah.
This is absolutely pro-life. And if you hear so-called conservatives saying this doesn't go far enough, we've got to defeat this and do better, you're not going to do better.
No.
This is as good as it's going to get. So let's talk about what to do with the information. I don't think what you need to be doing is shouting people down and beating them in a debate. Congratulations if you beat them in a debate. That's not going to change their vote.
Yeah.
That's what matters. You've got to win over their hearts and their minds with the truth. And here's the thing. There are going to be people who are just pro-abortion. Now, there are some people who have convinced themselves, well, I don't like abortion, but I'm pro-choice. Okay, well, you're either pro-abortion or you're not. And the people go, well, I don't like it. I just think it should be legal. That you need to really simmer on that.
Yeah.
Because what you're doing is you're still denying somebody's humanity when you do that. But I don't want to shame people when they're going, I don't understand what's going on with this new Amendment 3. Didn't we just vote on this? Don't be afraid to say, yeah, voters were lied to. We're giving voters another chance. So this is a lot clearer because there are some people there are degrees on this spectrum. We like to think it's either one or the other, but there's some people who say, yeah, I don't want to completely ban it because there are these cases. You're able to say, oh, I completely get it. Whether you agree or not, you say, oh, I get that. This specifically allows those. Really? And then, yeah, here, keep a screenshot on your phone or something. Yeah, here's what the actual ballot language is right there. And then I'd follow up and say, so that's good enough. I mean, that's the protection you're looking for, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, we really got to pass this thing. I'm going to vote yes. I really hope you do too. And I think that's the better way to connect with people on this, because this election there's going to be tens of millions of dollars spent. The pro-abortion side is going to probably outspend us by 2 to 3 to 1. But this is going to be won face-to-face over coffee at a dinner table, at a bar, at the soccer games, at the youth events, where people say, did you hear about this thing? Didn't we? And you're going to have the ability to talk to, not at, to people And if they truly say, well, I just thought the laws went too far last time, you can show them this screenshot and say, well, no, this actually does this. It actually covers what you say. See, this actually does what you hope. But you've got to do it in a way that isn't taking swings at them.
Yeah, the current way that we engage in a lot of political differences right now is, do we have the better talking points to rub it in your face vindictively because I want to be able to say I own that person? Well, when you beat somebody like that, you didn't change their mind. You did not. The important thing is to help them understand. Like, for example, one of the biggest things that I have an issue with the Amendment 3 that passed is that it says any other person that's involved in aiding an abortion, if something happens to the woman and she dies, I could be considered any other person and I can't be held criminally responsible.
It absolutely legalized back alley abort. I mean, think of the worst situation that you could possibly think of. That's legal in Missouri right now.
I could be a teacher somewhere, knock up one of my middle school classmates, take them to have an abortion by somebody that's not licensed to do it. If something happens to your daughter, your sister, your child, whatever, I cannot be held criminally responsible for her life ending. And that is something that was made available under this. So instead of getting worked up and mad about that, we need to find, how do we make that matter to somebody? If you are, because there are going to be people, like you said, I mean, I read a story. She's self-identified as, I'm addicted to abortion. She's had 21 abortions. And she's like, I'm like, okay, so you're never going to change that person's mind.
No, you're not going to win that.
But there are people out there that are more moderate, that they want to just do what the right thing is, and coming at them calmly, logically, and concisely is going to be the way to get them to understand why this matters so much.
Okay, so you can go to the Secretary of State's website, get a screenshot of that ballot language. Just have it there for safekeeping. So if it comes up, don't look for reasons to argue. Look for ways to affirm, especially if they say, but these laws are so extreme. If a woman's life is in danger, it doesn't even allow that. You can say, well, no, actually, this one does address that. Here, let me show you. And just make it part of the conversation, because like Jerome said, you're right, is that you can win the debate, chalk it up and go, ooh, yeah, I won. And then they're going to vote to preserve the death. And you're going to say, but I won the debate. That doesn't force them to vote anyway. The point is not to win a debate. The point is to win the heart and the mind. Even if somebody is never going to become a pro-lifer, they're never going to, get involved in, right to life, or they're never going to listen to a show like this. And those are still the people that you're still trying to tap into that little bit of humanity we might still have left, and say those extraneous situations are explicitly provided for in this. But what is an 80-20 issue? This also would allow Missouri to stop the chemical and the physical mutilation of children. Okay. Yes. That's just an additional thing on that. So there are people on the left who see that issue the right way. So practice, screenshot that, talk to people who are, who are experienced in this. Contact Missouri Right to Life. Go to their website. They've got resources on there. But this, I am telling you, this is going to be one. If it's going to be one, it's going to be one on that person-to-person level all throughout the state.
Now, while we're hoping that we're able to fix Amendment 3 and get new Amendment 3 passed, we can also consider what are some 80s bump music songs that make you feel good. So that's going to be the theme of this week, is what is the most feel-good 80s song that you know? Send them to me, Jerome, at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Jamie Allman here with the Allman Report. Pleased to be with Jordan Rosenblum. Google the bagel loan. That's what it's all about. Jordan, tell me about purchasing a home, brother.
Purchasing a home right now, it's a tough market. You're going to see a lot of competition. On the bagel loan that we have, you're going to have no closing costs, no title fees, no appraisal fees, no lender fees. Saves an average client almost $4,000 on a transaction. Customer service, unbelievable. Text, call anytime.
As I know, as a real estate agent, Google the bagel loan. Google the bagel loan, folks.
NMLS number 226715.
You and I might have something in common. Back pain. I can tell you where I go for help. Esquire Sports Medicine, the spine of St. Louis. They can put athletes back on the field so they can clearly help us. Esquire Sports Medicine, hands-on chiropractic help on Big Bend, just north of Highway 40. 314-644-0885. EsquireSportsMedicine.com. EsquireSportsMedicine.com.
Get ready for a spooktacular good time. The Greater Augusta Chamber of Commerce invites you to our annual Halloween open house at the Augusta Town Hall, corner of Walnut and Green Streets in downtown Augusta. Join us for a potluck featuring chili, soup, and snacks, plus warm, clean bathrooms for the little trick-or-treaters. We can't wait to see all those amazing costumes. Everyone's welcome. Learn more at AugustaChamber.org.
I'm Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway. When severe weather hits, scammers often follow. They may pose as charities, jack up prices on essentials, or offer fraudulent home repairs. I'm committed to protecting Missourians from those scams. If you've been targeted or suspect price gouging, report it to our office at 800-392-8222 or online at ago.mo.gov.
Paid for by the Missouri Attorney General's Office.
Colombo and Company.
We've already been through 2 special legislative sessions in Missouri this year. Could there be another one? We'll discuss it Wednesday with Mo political insider Rodney Boyd, plus Danny Define and Closest Cap.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on NewsTalkSTL.
Bill O'Reilly here. Check out the O'Reilly Update this afternoon at 3:45. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
I don't know how much media coverage James Comey's arraignment's going to be today, how much it's going to get today. You know, because James Comey, former FBI director, is going to be arraigned in a federal court in Arlington, Virginia. So basically, he's going to probably plead not guilty. They're going to probably set the next date for whatever is next in the process for his trial. But James Comey himself has said, yep, I want a trial. Let's do it. Let's go. Okay. But I don't know, other than conservative media, if there's going to be a lot of coverage of this.
I would imagine not, strictly for the fact that Dem-controlled media and Dem-aligned media seems to view this more as a political retaliation and not somebody that literally violated laws being held accountable.
Well, and it's a liability to their side too. They don't want to spotlight that too much. You know, they're kind of forced to cover the shutdown because, you know, it's interesting because I don't think this is good for either party, but it's really bad for the Democrats right now. Now, if it drags on for weeks and weeks, I don't know, you know, who people are going to end up blaming, because the reality is Republicans are they are the party of the majority, which means they can pass it in the House, which they did. But in the Senate, because of their stupid rules that they have, the Democrats are able to hold up basically anything.
But Mike, didn't you listen to the influencers?
Yeah,
They're saying that
exactly.
Trump shut it down so he could take everybody's Medicaid and Social Security away.
Right. Yeah, that's
didn't
all it
you
was.
get that online?
He was like, "Oh, your grandma gets blood pressure medicine. I'm going to get that.
It's mine now."
That's right. No, you're not.
And he's going to send the National Guard to grandma's house to go get it.
Oh man. So we're here, like, for instance, and here's the other thing. We talked about this off air here a little bit ago. Let me just kind of let you in on it. Is when the same stories are the headlines day after day after day after day, we all run out of some things to say about it, which is why I make fun of it so much in the news dump. I need to cover it. We got to say something about it. So I'm going to get a soundbite from a Democrat who says it's all the Republicans' fault because they want to cut health care away from everybody. And Republicans who are saying, no, Democrats are wanting to spend another $1 trillion and give health care to illegal aliens on the taxpayers' dime. Now, I thought it was interesting earlier today when we talked to Dan from Taxpayer Protection Alliance, and just on the spot, I said, is that happening? And he goes, well, I can't actually find an example of illegals getting healthcare. He said, but the way it's set up makes it likely that it's happening. So Democrats are saying it's already illegal, which it is, and it's just not happening. Well, I don't know about that.
There have been some clips that Larry Connors has played on Larry Connors USA from both whistleblowers and people in the government claiming, like, here is where we found the evidence, and stuff like that. And and the way that it would work makes sense to me based on the very, very small, limited amount of information I have about how these programs even work. But at the same time, sometimes, and our side's guilty of this too, is that we take something and we reduce it to put a different image of what's going on in people's minds than the reality. I mean, but on the other hand, during the Biden administration, there were actual illegal immigrants being given phones and given cash cards and given. So it's you have to kind of think a little bit more critically and do your own deep dive sometimes. But there's really not a whole lot to say about that. I mean, I think we're like probably the few that are actually like, yay, government shut down, rather than those pesky Democrats.
Yeah, I know. Well, and eventually, like I said, if this drags on and on, eventually somebody's going to feel it. I mean, I'm planning to go visit my family in New Hampshire. I know I have never lived in New Hampshire, but they live in New Hampshire now. So I'm planning to do that. I'm looking at it going, should I book a train? I mean, are the air traffic controllers not going to be there come the holidays? Because I think that's one of the things that Democrats are going to be banking on, is if this is going to drag out, flights are getting canceled, air traffic controllers aren't showing up, we're going to completely jam up holiday travel and holiday everything and blame the Republicans. Well, the Republicans are out on this early saying, guys, this was your choice. You're the ones who literally voted no. There was the plan to keep the government operating at the same bloated, expensive Biden era level of spending, and you voted no. You guys voted no. And that's the accurate thing. But is that going to matter by the time the messaging gets filtered out to the public through the mainstream media, through social media, and through the uncritical coverage that leftist media gives? So what are people actually going to believe? And that's the reality.
I mean, let's go back to the beginning of the year, even when there were a few plane, incidences, and people were saying, see, Donald Trump and Doge and Musk cut all the air traffic support, and all of a sudden planes are falling from the sky. But the real story is that there have actually been there are thousands of plane crashes every single year, with many of them never even making the news.
Oh yeah, most of them. Did you know that we have like on average 3 train derailments a day in this country?
Yeah, and
3.
Yeah. And
fortunately, almost all of them are inconsequential, but the big ones obviously are big news. But we have 3 trains go off the rails every day in this country.
And then it just doesn't, it's not a quote unquote sensationalized news story unless something really tragic happens. And then all of a sudden the spotlight's on it. So Democrats are very good at memory holding things. They're very good at only shifting focus or getting outraged towards what they want the narrative to be, to hide everything else going on. And then it's like, well, this was going on during our administration, but now we can politicize it. So now let's draw attention to it and scare everybody. And I think that's what they're hoping is going to happen too, is that they're playing their part in keeping the government shut down. But then when something happens, because they're not the ones that have full power right now, suddenly it's an issue. But if you go back and look in the past of when the government was shut down under Obama's administration, well, no, that was for your good, not right. So it's hypocrisy.
What's happening right now is that Republicans, and believe me, I've got a lot. I'm going to fault the Republicans a lot because you mentioned Doge. I'm going to fault the Republicans a lot because they haven't cut spending.
No,
they have had just little symbolic things. They haven't actually delivered a huge amount of cuts. Great. They cut public broadcasting. Fantastic. That's at not even 1%. I mean, and so, they had a mandate to cut spending. Doge listed about $1 trillion of spending that could be cut with a T.
Yes.
Trillion. They haven't done it. They did a rescission bill to cut, some. Great. So Republicans haven't actually followed through. The Republicans are saying, let's just keep it the same it is right now. Democrats said no to that. Democrats said, no, we want to add hundreds of billions, even $1 trillion in spending. And we're voting no until you give us more big government. So the Republicans are in the middle on this. The Republicans are in the moderate one saying the current levels is something we'll do, we'll say yes to. And the Democrats said no. So what the Democrats are doing right now, I think it's where you were going with this, Jerome, is right now, task number 1 for them is not solving the problem. Task number 1 for them is rewriting the narrative and rewriting the story so that people see the story for something it's not.
Yeah, I'm going to allow you to get have this person harm you. I'm going to make the pain even worse, but then I'm going to remind you got harmed because of this, not because of me making it much, much worse. So bread and circuses,
Oh, totally. Yeah. Which is really what we're looking at right now is more of a messaging war than an actual competing ideas for solutions. And again, I mean, I know that someday this is going to affect me if it drags on, but for most people, if you're getting worked up over the government shutdown, look around your life. Is it really making a difference to you right now? For almost everybody, the answer is going to be no. So why are we paying so much for this federal government? Look at your last paycheck stub and see that we're paying for stuff that makes no difference in your life.
Hi, I'm Rodney Wallner.
And I'm Jen Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Jen, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission plan?
Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at